Hello and a very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for tuning into this webinar on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. In conjunction with World Savings Day, we have put together this webinar especially for you to disseminate information which we hope you will find useful in nurturing your financial well-being. To kickstart this webinar, let's hear it from Maybank's Head of Commodity Financial Services Malaysia, Dato' Hamirullah Berhad.
Assalamualaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Maybank Save Up webinar today. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1924, World Savings Day has been celebrated across the world on 31st October. It's to highlight the importance of savings in improving the standard of living and securing the economy. So in conjunction with this year's World Savings Day, Maybank is proud to organize the Save Up webinar, which we hope will help you save and manage your money matters better. Savings or menabung is the foundation of financial security and independence. Learning to save is the equivalent of learning to crawl before you learn to walk. Hence, before you start to invest and diversify your money, you must first learn how to save. The pandemic COVID-19 has made us realize even more how important it is to save and put some money aside for a rainy day. Today, our focus is on savings, and we have prepared an exciting lineup of conversation with experts who will be sharing tips to help you improve your savings habit. We know it takes a lot of discipline to save, but there are tricks to make it easier. You will also learn how to manage your financial the Shariah compliant way. Apart from that, there is also a session to help you make a good first impressions. As the saying goes, first impression count. So learn how you can present your best self forward always, whether it's physically or virtually. So if you have any burning questions to ask our speakers, please do so. Please send them in using the link in the description box. They will be more than happy to answer them and make this session more fruitful for you. Before I end, check out our hashtag SaveUp campaign, which can help you kickstart your savings. The best part is you will also stand a chance to win cash prizes from a pool of 100,000 ringgit Malaysia. For students, graduates, and those who have just started working, you may want to check out our ZESI account. All you have to do is to save as little as 200 ringgit, and you could win year-round prizes such as iPhone 12, MacBook, Proton X50, and even up to 1 kg of gold investment. Thank you once again for tuning in. We hope you will find today's webinar insightful and you will be able to pick some useful tips. And let's make this World Saving Day a catalyst for you to start your savings journey. Thank you, enjoy the session ahead, and stay safe.
So the first topic we have for you today will be on managing money during pandemic through Sharia compliant approach. Now, before you dismiss that Sharia compliant or Islamic banking is only applicable to Muslims, it is in fact for all human beings, regardless of religious beliefs, ethnicity, caste, or creed. It aims to lay the foundations of an ethical and fair financial system. So to take us through on this topic today, we have Dr. Azrul Azlan Iskandar Mirza, who is a Sharia committee member in Maybank Islamic Berhad. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Crystal. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good afternoon. How are you, everybody? Stay safe. So I'll begin the session today, our webinar today, on the topic of managing money during pandemic. So maybe the first question you ask, whether this topic is still relevant or not. Are we still in the pandemic time? The answer is still yes. Why I'm saying yes? Because we still have thousands of cases a day. We still have the death, quite number of deaths that recorded every day. We have so many people also made the test every day. So that is why we still say that we are in the pandemic. Why? At the same time, because it already happened for more than 1 year, right? For more than 1 year. So we get used to it. So we think it's already gone. We think it's already done, but it is still not yet. Yes, Ministry of Health already announced that we are moving towards endemic, but still we are in the pandemic time. So this kind of discussion we discuss on the managing money is still relevant for us, and inshallah I'll talk about it in details. So my outline of presentation will be on this kind of topics. We talk about savings from Islamic perspective. We want to know about the overview of the initiative taken either by the government or the financial institutions or NGOs or individuals, neighborhood. Lots of people do their own initiative. Talks about the rules of Islamic banking, this kind of pandemic, what type of savings that we can have during this kind of pandemic, what's the problem that been faced by the Malaysians, and propose solution to it. And we'll see what kind of Maybank Islamic attractive accounts and what we offer to you, as well as we do the summary on it. Okay, for the first presentation, actually is all related to the savings from Islamic perspective. Let me begin with the fundamental of Islam. Islam is not only worshipping. Islam is not only about prayers. Islam is not only about fasting in Ramadan. Islam is not only about paying the alms giving, the zakat, or we only perform our pilgrims in Mecca every year. But for us as a Muslim, we believe that Islam is the way of life. So we talk about Islam as the way of life. Islam covers lots of aspects in the lifetime, from the small things up to the biggest thing, and how we manage this world. So that is why in Islam, as a Muslim, we believe that we have been guided by the Holy Quran. The gods already created us, all the human beings, and from that creations, the God know what is the weakness and the strength of the human. And because of that, the gods, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has give us what we call it, the guidance of the Holy Quran, and send the messenger of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu to guide us on how to live in this world happily, and to give the fairness to all the people. So Islam is not always about the relationship between us and God, but Islam is always talk about the relationship among the humans, including Muslim or the non-Muslim. So if we talk about the savings, so that is why Muslims always put, is there any guidance given by the Quran? Is there any guidance given by the Islam regarding the savings? Yes, we can find in the Holy Quran, chapter Surah Yusuf, the verse 47 and 49, up to 49, where this is the history, the story of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam that been lived by 2,000 years before the born of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. So one of the citations or the verse in the Holy Quran mentioned about the role of savings. Actually, when the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam in his lifetime, being the Minister of Finance, Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam lived in Egypt. So he's one of the Minister of Finance there. And he mentioned that you will cultivate for 7 years continuously. So leave all that you harvest in a year, except a little which you eat. Then after that will come 7 hard years, which will devour all that you had stored for them, except a little which you may save. And then after that will come a year when the people will given a rain, and in which they will extract juices. So this is the history that happened in the time of the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam that been guided to us, because the history repeats. We do have good days and the hard days, good days and the rainy days during our lifetime. So in economic cycle, we believe that in 1997, we faced the financial crisis. In 2009, 2008, we faced the subprime crisis, and this 2020 we face what we call it as a pandemic crisis. So the history repeat themselves. So after 10 or 11 years, so we expect another hard times. We should prepare for it. So that is why Quran has already been mentioned about it, and this verse shows that the importance of savings to overcome the financial difficulties and financial planning to help address the emergency in the future. So that's why the Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, mentioned just save and use a little which you want to eat. So preparing for the worst is one of the planning that we want to put in our life. So in the management process, we have the POLC, planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. All these kind of applications can be applied in our life based on the guidance of the Holy Quran. So by understanding this kind of fundamental, we can see that the economy in our country still will be in the pain even after the pandemic is off. It's not easy to recover. It's not easy to recover from this kind of pandemic. Yes, the people starts to begin and to move on what they have, what they face for the past 1 or 2 years, but to recover back before what we face in the pandemic is quite difficult. Especially the SMEs, we have the struggle financially in order to recover from the effect of pandemics. Just imagine, yes, one entity of SME could not affect us. But please remember that each of the SME employ how much employees for it. So for example, one SME employ 10 people. So 10 people will suffer because of one SME being affected. So that is why we still need to do a lot of things to make sure that we can recover, and a lot of things could be done to recover from this kind of pandemic. So the uncertainty of the economic situation will lead into the several issues that we all know: the retrenchment, unemployment, financial pain, and survival in general. So this is a fundamental one to talk about. And Alhamdulillah, in Malaysia, we have a good initiative because of we are the Keluarga Malaysia. So the government does not leave us alone to face the pandemic. So the government took the initiative because of we have a lot of issues down there because of this pandemic, but the government proactively focusing on how to help the people by giving the one-off cash. We have the Bantuan Prihatin, we have the moratorium that we announced the Minister of Finance, we have EPF cash withdrawal and private retirement. And not only that, the other entity like government agencies, especially the Bank Negara Malaysia, or they announce the special fund for the SME to help them to make them at least survive in this kind of pandemic. Then they have the repayment assistance, just like the moratorium for individuals, but the SMEs been also helped by the government, by the Bank Negara Malaysia through financial institution to give the repayment assistance. And then they have the iTekat program, all related to the social finance, Pelindungan Tenang. All of these are the initiatives taken by the government or the government agency. Not only that, we talk about the Keluarga Malaysia, the spirit of Malaysia. We talk about the peoples, the NGOs, who's also helping the people, and even individuals like ourselves, just looking at our family who are being affected. Then we help them in terms of at least to give them survive in this pandemic situation. We at least, yes, we cannot help them 100%, but at least the spirit of Malaysia boleh, the spirit of kita jaga kita. We have a lot of spirits that have been developed by Malaysian to make sure that we can survive in this pandemic collectively, not we only survive individually. So this is the good things about the spirit of Malaysia. We live in a multiracial country. We live regardless what religion we are, what races we are, but we are focusing on helping each other during this pandemic. So this is the good things that happen to Malaysia. This is the initiative taken not only from the government or Bank Negara, financial institutions, but we are talking about the role of Malaysians in helping each other during this kind of pandemic. So if we can go through You may ask, what is the contributions of the banking, especially the Islamic banking towards the pandemic? Yes, we already announced a lot of initiative, not only from the government, from financial institutions. We give them moratorium 2 times. The first I believe in the April last year, and then we have the moratorium 2.0 that been given by the government to help to give us the financial relief from the what we call it from the pandemic that happened to us. So, but despite all the initiative we are taking, since Islamic banking is not only focusing on the commercial entity and commercial value, we are also talking about the fairness. We talk about the fair system. We talk about the justice that we want to achieve. In the social, we also have the social responsibility. So Maybank Islamic taken a lot of also initiative to help the people other than the initiative that been directed by the government. One of it, if you can see, Maybank Islamic is already launched the Malaysia first ever social impact deposits. I don't know whether you realize this or not, but we already announced it. And for every single ringgit and cents you put in your deposits, so we put it as a social impact. Any profit derived from these deposits that you are put in, so part of it we will send and channel it to the pandemic, to those who have been affected by this kind of pandemic. So this is the first ever social impact deposit that we took the initiative to make sure that we are helping the Malaysian to face this pandemic. So also Maybank Foundations contributing around 4 million through Mercy Malaysia for one pandemic. We contribute 40 million ringgit to the two major government hospitals, Tengku Ampar Rahimah Kelang, and also the what we call the Hospital Kuala Lumpur, for the development of critically needed equipment. We noted that during this pandemic, we have a lot of deficit from the government side, so we'll help the government as well. Even though some people say, hey, this is the role and responsibility of the government, just leave it to government. They have a lot of money to spend with. No, because of the spirit of Malaysia, we also help them, and we are also responsible to help the government, to help the people come out from this kind of pandemic. So that is why when we talk about what is the contributions of the financial institution rather than giving the moratorium, we have a lot more initiative that were given, not only from the commercial point of view, we're also talking about how to give the social impact to those people. So this is the initiative. This is all about the Islamic banking. We're talking that the Islamic banking that been initiated since I think 1980s. So the establishment of Islamic banking, not only for the purpose of commercial, not to do the business in the commercial and Islamic way, but also we are take a look at the social impact. We are talk about take a look at the social responsibility and to give the fair system and fair distributions to the people. So this is the most important part. What so-called makes a difference on the mandate that been given for Islamic banks. So let's talk about the types of saving. We just focus on the types of saving, yes, before we talk about where to save our money. So let us find out what is the sources of savings that you want to save your money, right? So of course, it derives from the income that we receive. And then of course, that income must be Shariah compliance. You cannot rob the banks or rob the other people to save the money. This is not the proper way to do it. So the income must be Shariah compliant, as well as you can save from your side income, because some of the people feels that their current income is not sufficient enough, so they are going for the side income. It's up to us. It depends on our capability to do the side income for it, and this is the source of saving. So please bear in mind, all the incomes, all your side income will not be used for the purpose of spending what you want to have, what you desire to have, but please put a savings aside, because this is part of the what we call it the future planning, to make sure that we can face any emergency situations in the future. So another in this pandemic time, of course, other than income and side income that you have, you also have the extra money, like extra cash due to the moratorium. How much you save from the moratorium, right? 6 months. you are not paying any installment to the bank. So this amount should be saved. At least, some portions of it you should save for it. Yes, I believe in the early moratorium that been announced by the government, a lot of people, oh, I want to save the whole 6 months. But at the end of the day, after 2 or 3 months, so the collections of the savings is too much. The people starts to think, what I want to purchase. I want to purchase iPhone. I want to purchase a laptop. I want to purchase all the new things that they want because of they have a lot of money during that time because of that moratorium. So please bear in mind that this also can be source of savings. Please don't spend everything on your moratorium. Please save some of it and use it for only necessary. Yeah. So we also have the EPF scheme like iSinar, iCitra. You can withdraw from your EPF KWSP account. So don't use it for unnecessary spending. So save some of this kind of income withdrawal to make sure that you can have more what we call it sustainable income in the future. So this is the sources that these are the sources that we're talking about, where to save the money. When the people ask you where to save the money, of course from your income. So where to save your money? Where to save your money? Actually, we can go for two. The normal people can go for the financial savings and the non-financial savings. The first financial saving, of course, you're going for Islamic deposit savings account. And then you can go for unit trust, Islamic unit trust that we have, equity market, where there is the money market funds. You can place your money in the fixed deposit. And even you can subscribe or participate in the takaful with the savings plan. Yeah? Please make sure that if you want to subscribe or participate in takaful, please make sure that you have the savings plan so you can have savings as well as for protection simultaneously. Yeah? Another point of view that the people want to save the money from these kind of sources actually by purchase the house, for example. They want to purchase the house because they believe that the house is an asset. It's an asset you can save. You can purchase the house. It can be your asset. You can lease out. You can get the income out of it, or you're waiting for the value to be appreciated, then you sell for it. So it depends. As long as you do whatever necessary that define the meaning of savings, you can do for it. Some of the people going and opt for jewelry and gold because they believe that jewelry and gold is considered as a sustainable commodity that's stable in terms of price, whatever happened in the economy. So, for example, in this recession time, the people always take a look at the price of the gold because this price of gold in the recession times always push up. So that's why some of the people save their money by purchase the gold. So some of the people can purchase the land, to purchase the property, depends on the capability that you have. So some of the people cannot save through by purchasing a land unless the price is very low and under the market value. So the people will proceed for it unless if we have the small amount of it, just go for the financial institution, go to the banks and save the money through the accounts that available under the financial institution. Okay. So let's talk about the problem that been faced by those people, the Malaysians. We say the Malaysians. This is normally issues that been faced by the Malaysian. The first one actually is spending exceed the income. This is one of the problems that also we face. So just one of the way to solve this issue is take a look at your cash flow first, whether track your expenses. Somehow your expenses it's not necessary you want to purchase. For example, you can save a lot in terms of subscribing a lot of gadget and everything that you subscribe to internet. For example, the people now quite so-called crazy to subscribe into the movies, the online channels like Netflix and all those things. Yes, you can subscribe for it, but please be wise in terms of spending it. For example, I will give you an example. You can share the accounts rather than you purchase by your own. Why not you share the accounts with your friends, for example, which the provider allow to do so. So you just make collaborations or arrangement with your friends in order to make sure that you can reduce your payment monthly. So this is a way you want to track the budget. Just take a look all your expenses that you are doing every month, and you can see whichever is not necessary you can eliminate from that kind of expenses, and therefore that can be the solutions to make sure that your spendings is not exceed your income. But if you see that your income is not necessary and all your spending actually is unnecessary item, so please make sure that you must have another measure for it to find and create multiple income stream. By maybe you need another side income of 8, so you need to diversify. So we have a lot of measures to be done to make sure that we can survive on our own. So please make sure that another point of view that the people's always ask about how to manage the spending, because we have a lot of e-commerce application nowadays. You can purchase item online, even though you're not going to the mall, you're not going to the supermarket, you still can purchase the item, and this can exceed and burst your spending trend. I don't know, because we cannot put the blame on this e-commerce platform because they are doing their job. They also what we call it SMEs, or the company that generate the income at the same time. But it is depends on our wisdom to decide on it. So one of the tips that we can give you how to make sure that we cannot have a much of spending in all the e-commerce platform. For example, one of it, please do not put the notification. Please do not put the notification of every items that you are interested in. Now, somehow we have the card, right? When we go through the websites or the applications, we have a lot of things that we are quite interested to have. Wish list, our wish list. So we put add to cart, add to cart. Once you put in the cart, actually there will be a notification once let's say you already put a certain item into the cart. So this application can notify you, oh, this item's already the price is trending down. So when they notify you, so you will do the purchase. So please turn off your notification to make sure that you can control. If you have money, just proceed for it. But if you don't have money, you want to control, please don't put the notification, because somehow if the people want to buy something, yes, yeah, once we interested to the things, we will always say, I want to buy. Just leave it for 1 week. And then somehow after 1 week, you're not interested anymore on this item. So we must have the patience in controlling our spending to make sure it's not exceed your income. Yeah. Number 2, not having the emergency fund. Yes, this is how I think that what the trends of Malaysia doesn't have any emergency fund. That's why during the pandemic they don't have any savings, and one they've been retrenched from the job, so they don't know what to do because they don't have any source of emergency fund for it. So one of the way actually is to deduct from the very beginning. Once you receive your income, please set aside some of your income. For example, 10% depends on your income. So set aside 10 or 5%, and then grow slowly to reach your target. Meaning to say that yes, you should put aside 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses every month, but don't take too short in time. So develop your time and develop your goals. For example, I want to develop 3 months savings as emergency fund. So make sure that you can grow it slowly. My target to fulfill this what we call it, this 3 months emergency fund is during 1 year or 1.5 years or 2 years. It take time. Don't put 3 months to fill all the what we call it, the emergency fund that you want to have. It's not possible at all, unless you got the side income, which is based on the commissions. It's not fixed, and then you can put aside of it. But anyway, please put your emergency fund, but by having a deductions from the early times that you what we call it, you receive your income. So number 3 is lack of savings. Yeah, the other problem of Malaysia, because of they don't think about the saving. One, they receive the salary. One, got their salary, so the people always spend whatever left. Then you would say, if nothing left, no savings at all. So this is not the right trend and behavior that we want to create. And even we talk about the earlier verses in the Holy Quran mention set aside first, and then you use a little as whatever necessary for your spending. So don't overspend. Please make sure that you have a good savings to make, and then you must have the long term and short term goal for it. And for example, next year, I already saved for moratorium. Yes, you save for, because of moratorium, you save a lot of money. So you want to go for vacation next year because you expect next year will be the, we already not in the pandemic anymore. So they want to go for what we call it for vacations outside Malaysia. So you go to Swiss, you want to go to Japan, for example, Korea, lot of wish list there. But develop your savings from that. Develop your savings from that. And please do not proceed if you want to achieve your savings. For example, your target, you want 10,000 because of you want to go to Korea, you want to go to Japan next year, in end of next year, because of your target is to do the vacation. So you're supposed to make a savings 500 ringgit, 600 ringgit per month. So if you do that kind of savings, for example, so once you achieve the target, then you go. If you're not achieve the target, please do not go. Why? If you go, you still go for it. So you get the problem from where money that they take. So most of the people are doing their personal financing because to fulfill your desire to go for vacation. But the impact is that your saving is not enough and you have burden in terms of your debt that you have. Yeah. So you can use also the proper tools by tracking your expenses. Please make sure that you track your expenses. Yes, the people somehow is very lazy, so called, don't want to do the tedious things. For example, I'm going for breakfast, I take nasi lemak and I pay for 2 ringgit and 50 cents. I pay for 3 ringgit, 5 ringgit for the breakfast. So I don't want to put notes that I spend 5 ringgit today. So just leave it like that. But actually, we do have a lot of measures and tools that we can use to track your expenses. For example, in Maybank, we do have MAE. You pay through your MAE wallet. So you can, and MAE has the features that can track your expenses. And at the end of the day or at the end of the month, you can track your expenses. Oh, I know that I spend a lot for my transportation, I spend a lot on my foods, so I can reduce and make a comparison between 1 month to another, and then you can control your expenses. So these are the measures that we can take in terms of how we can control and solve the lacks of savings. Another point of view that we want to talk about actually is the too much debt. Yeah, some of the people, yes, they have income, but at the same time they have a lot of debt. They do personal financing. You have a car financing. Some of the people have 3 cars, but in the house, there are only 2 people can drive. 2 people have a license, for example. So is that necessary to have the 3rd car? So please reconsolidate or restructure back all your debt that you have. How many credit cards that we have? All this is are they already burst the shilling limit, for example, because some of the people tends to use as much as their limit possible, because you can enjoy, even though you don't have the money, you can have the credit facilities, and that can caught you into the problems of too much debt. So create a debt repayment strategy, repayment strategy, and please evaluate back your debt. The good debts, which is you can have the income, so you purchase the property, so you can lease out, so you can get the income at least to cover some of your expenses, or even you can gain more from what you pay for your installment. Or any bad debts that you have, for example, your credit card that already burst, what we call it the limit. So please focus on these first to solve. Then you can have the structure and consult any financial advisors to make sure that you can reduce your debt. Even you can consolidate. Please find all the package that can reduce your monthly installment, as well as structuring back your debt to make sure that you are financially positive in that manner, so you don't have this kind of issue. So the problem number 5, the problem with the Malaysian actually is not knowing how to invest. And this problem lead that the scammer can take advantage on you. Yes, a lot of people, yes, they know the importance of investment, but they don't know where to invest the money. So that's why the scammer come to them. And the problem with this scammer, they don't have the capital, they don't have the consumer protections from any law in Malaysia. That is why once the people's already involved in the scamming activities, where they've been scammed by those scammers. So if you do the report police many times, somehow we don't have the law that protect our right as a consumer to invest this money, so this will be problem to us. So please make sure that's the knowledge related to investment will be there. In Malaysia, we do have the regulators that regulate the what we call it, the investment that we have, when either mostly from the Securities Commission of Malaysia, we can appoint a fund manager, and we have the consumer protection if something happens, especially on the misconduct or any negligence taken by those asset management company or the fund company. So we must understand also, in the same time, we want to invest, yes, please make sure that we do it in a proper investment, which is protected from the law of Malaysia. So you can allocate 10% to 20% of your income, depends on your financial capability. One of the way to what we call it, to consistent in investment, to do the direct debit authorization, you don't need to transfer or to transfer the amount to the investment fund every month. You can do the direct debit, ask the bank, and fill up some form or online form that you can deduct amount of money every month without what we call it, what we call it manually. You can do it by using the direct debit. So you also can have the private retirement scheme for the purpose of savings. For example, you can get the tax relief up to 3,000 ringgit till 2025. Other than the EPF, you can have the PRS, especially for those who work with the private sector, or even the public sector also can subscribe to the PRS. Yeah. So we also have the ZES account. ZES account, please, a lot of financial institutions are also having the attractive, what we call it, savings features account. For example, in Maybank, we do have the ZES-I account. We'll talk about it later, and how you can benefit from this ZES-I account. Yeah? But our focus, and my focus for this point actually is, we must make sure that know how to invest, and please take so-called a study and understand proper in terms of what we call investment. Okay, number 6, lack of the financial discipline. Yes, this is another thing that we want to make sure that is our behavior. Our behavior will determine everything. Yeah? Yes, we can have a good budget, we can have a good consolidations, but in terms, if we don't have the good behavior to solve the issues, so it's nothing. Yeah? We cannot achieve anything from it. So we must have the financial discipline. So read and join the classes to build up the financial discipline muscle, not only your body muscles that the youngsters like it now, but please also develop your financial discipline muscles, and adopt a good financial habit by practice the mindful spending. So please aware on the tactics or the marketing that been done by any sellers, to make sure that you are not being so-called, I would say, cheated from this kind of spending. So we must have the wisdom in terms of whether we need it or not. In Islam, we do have what we call it the maqasid Shariah principles, which is related to the daruriyat, hajiyat, and tahsiniyat. Which one is what we call it, the necessity, which one is the complementary. So we know what is the positions of purchasing and do the spending on that side. So once we know that kind of position, so we can have a good habit in terms of financial spending. Yeah? And you can track your expenses. You can see it in the next features in terms of product that been offered by Maybank Islamic. So what we have in Maybank, actually, the ZES-I account. Yeah? ZES-I account actually is a saving. It is a mudarabah investment account. Mudarabah, we are giving the authorization to the Maybank to invest on your behalf, and Maybank will be the entrepreneur, and all the profit will be shared between you as a customer and the bank itself. So the good features of this ZSI, actually, you can start as low as a minimum placement of 50 ringgit. So please make sure that you can have as low as 200 ringgit, and you can have the eligible 1 entry for lucky draw. And if you are lucky enough, you can receive what we call it the prize from the Maybank. If you just, for example, you just put 5,000 in the ZES account, just put 5,000 of it, or you get your salary, you already deduct all your, what we call it, all your debt. So let's say the remaining, you have 5,000 ringgit to spend the whole month, for example. So that 5,000, don't put in your savings account everything. So just put 500 ringgit, and the remaining 4,500 ringgit, you put it in ZES account. So if you're lucky enough, end of the year, or end of the month, you get the lucky draw, means you can get X50, then you get 1 kilo of gold. So just imagine, once you invest only 4,500 ringgit, so at the end of the year, you got 1 kilo, which is amounting, I think, more 250,000 ringgit worth of 1 kilo. So what is the, what you call it, the rate of return on that kind of investment? Yes, it is based on your luck, but the opportunity is still there. The people ask me whether it is Shariah compliant or not. Yes, it's Shariah compliant, because this is not a gambling. Gambling, you're losing your money, right? You put your money, then you have the chance of losing. Your money is there, you still have your own profit, but the provider or the Maybank give you some benefit in terms of giving you their, what we call it, the price of putting your investment in Maybank. So this is one of the features that we introduced to the customers, and it's quite easy to subscribe to the, what we call it, the ZSI account. You only need, you must, of course, like Malaysian or the permanent resident of Malaysia. You can have the joint account as well, and you can apply it online. You don't have to go to the branch to fill up the form. Just, if you're familiar enough with the Maybank to you, so you just log into your Maybank to you, and you can subscribe easily. Yeah. So once you've done the verification, so you're done for it. Yeah? So another point, another initiative that also taken by the Maybank is also the account portability. Yeah. We have the EVO system. Means you can go for Sharia compliant account. Why we need the Sharia compliant account? The good things about the Sharia compliant, actually, we are focusing on the ethical investment. Ethical investment. I believe that Muslim knows about the ethical investment. We talk about the liquor is prohibited in Islam. The pork is prohibited in Islam. For Muslim, it's prohibited. That for non-Muslim, what is the benefit of it? I believe that not all non-Muslim doesn't like liquor. Not all Muslim like liquor. Some of them are still believe that the liquor have the harm. So we call it, this is one ethical investment. So in Islamic banks or any Islamic financial institution, what is our focus? Our focus is to make sure that everything that we derive from the income must be ethical income from Islamic point of view. So any income that we derive from unethical investment or non-Sharia compliant investment, we will purify it, but not affecting the customer. You are not being affected. Bank will be affected. So that is why the functions of the Sharia under the Bank Negara, we do have the Sharia governance framework to make sure that everything, all the revenue that we derive for the Islamic bank must be ethical from Sharia point of view. This is the features that we extend not only for Muslim but also for the non-Muslim on all Malaysian to subscribe, because we want to promote what we call it as ethical investment. Yeah. So if you want to switch your account from currently the account that you have to Islamic account, is another initiative taken by the Maybank, actually, is to give you what we call it simple, what we call it, transactions for you. So just log into Maybank to you. So you just can switch your account to Islamic. Easily you can switch it through online, doesn't have to go to branches. And then your account number will remain. So some of the people say, hey, if I will change the account from conventional to Islamic, I have to change the account number. No need. So for Maybank initiative, you can remain on your Islamic account without changing your account number. So this is the initiative taken by the Maybank Islamic. So no hidden fees, Sharia compliance, seamless experience. We are very transparent from whatever we received. So you can see in the financial report, we have the Shariah Committee report as well to show how many income that we purify every year. So we also have the Maybank e-wallet. This is already the Shariah compliant e-wallet. So a digital wallet where the payment can be done using the QR smartphone, or you can have the physical card on MAE debit card. And it is open to all, starting from 12 years old, and you can trace your spending also through the e-wallet. So try as much as possible to use this e-wallet because it can track your spending, as well as try to make sure that as cashless as possible. Me myself, even us, I think all Malaysians currently, if you leave your what we call it, your wallet in the house to go for shopping, for example, you don't bother for it. But when you leave your handphone at the house, you must do the U-turn. I think the necessary things now is not the wallet, actually is your smartphone. So the good things and the initiative taken by the MAE is to have your e-wallet to make sure that the physical wallet is not important anymore. Now you can have e-wallet, you can live like usual. So this is the good things about the features under the MAE that we introduce to you to make sure that we can have what we call it cashless society. Then we don't have to bother that the pickpocket will take your wallet. No need for it, unless they will pick your smartphone. That will be the problem. Okay. So to sum up, this is the summary that I've mentioned from the beginning, how Islam encourage people to practice savings and carry out proper financial plan, the importance of saving to prepare against the unexpected events in life, to discover the types of savings we mentioned just now, to grow well and for better opportunity in the future, to understand the financial problem and learn a proper solution to overcome it. Please consult your financial advisor, authorized financial advisor for it, to make sure that you can understand more on it. You can discover also the financial product that can help to enhance your financial portfolio. We have the ZES, we have the MEE just now, and then we can execute the financial plan with the knowledge and fact for better understanding. So I think that's all from me, moderator. So thank you very much for your participation. I open for Q&A. So please, moderator, back to you. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Azrul, for the presentation. So one of the popular questions that we've got from the viewers is this: how do conventional and Islamic banking differ?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Of course, it's quite easy now to differentiate between the conventional and Islamic banks, because one of the requirement by Bank Negara Malaysia, any Islamic product you must put the what we call it, the label of this is an Islamic product. So you don't have to worry about it. So you go to any financial institutions, you can go to the Maybank. So Maybank have adopted what we call it as Islamic first approach. Means once you go to any branches, want to subscribe, they will start offer you the Islamic first. So if you refuse, then they go for the conventional. So this is the approach that will be taken to ensure that we can promote you and encourage you to have the Shariah compliance product. The second, in terms of the contract that been used, some people says that, hey, what's the difference? At the end of the day, we still pay the same, right? You have the house financing, you have the home loan, for example, in the conventional. At the end of the day, you still pay 2,000 ringgit per month. What's the difference? What is the difference between the Islamic and the conventional? Yes, the difference is in the process of it. It's different on the process, because we are doing an ethical way of doing things. Because in Islam, in Shariah, we are not allowed to have the interest from the loan, because this discourage people somehow. From Islamic point of view, it discourage people from what we call it, doing a real kind of business. So if you want to do the business, make a business in the real economic world, not selling so-called your money there. But from the Sharia point of view, we are talking about buying and selling. So that's why when we do the house financing or home financing under any Islamic financial institutions, we are doing differently, even though at the end of the day, the installment will be the same. Yeah? So the governing authority also will be different, because under the what we call it, the Islamic banks, we have the Shariah committees, not only from the Islamic financial institution, not only from the Maybank level, we also have from the Bank Negara level. So the governance process is very. This is not easy to say it is Islamic. Some people say, you are stamping, you just do the stamping. No, we are not doing the stamping. We are bound to the Act under the IFSA, Islamic Financial Services Act. If we did wrong in terms of processing all the contract, it's not Sharia compliant, so we are bound to the fines given under the Act. So this is not an easy task, because I think the Act already explicitly mentioned about the seriousness of this Act to implement the Sharia compliance. And other things of it, we have a lot more actually. You can consult your branches regarding these issues, and I believe that all the branches in Maybank can explain what's the difference between Islamic and conventional.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks. There's another one here, which is, will the inflation ever stop? If not, how do we survive?
Okay, the inflations never stop. The inflation will never stop, but we can control the inflation. Yeah, because we believe that inflation is something all related to the demand and related to the cost as well. Means yes, if you are the seller, for example, if you do your business, you must have your own cost of it, and of course, once the demand is higher, so you tend to push the price higher, right? So this is the normal practice. We call it as a demand and supply theory. Says that once the demand is up, so you can push the price up. So one of the way, this is all related to the inflation. One of the way we cannot what we call it stop the inflation, but we can control and minimize the inflation. So for the time being, yes, we do have the problem during this pandemic time in terms of what we call it inflation and all those things. But I believe that we are going back to normal. We are going back to the normal. Please, all Malaysians, we do whatever necessary to make sure that we can end this pandemic and we can back to the world that we live before the pandemic. And during that time, I believe we can control or minimize the inflation. So another advice for you regarding these inflations, that's why the wise spending is very important. Once you spend for the unnecessary, actually that will be the factor as well to push up the price and cause the inflation. So if you spend wisely, so the demand and supply can be controlled, and those inflation will not be as high as what we can see in the some items and goods nowadays. Yeah. Thank you.
Right. And there's this rather interesting question here that just got in. Well, recently there's this minister who remarked that it is possible for a 20-year-old to become a millionaire by the time he turns 60, provided he saves 500 ringgit monthly. Do you think this is actually realistic?
I would say yes. But it's back to us. What been thrown by the minister actually is to encourage us for savings, right? But the way we do and conduct the savings, so and another point of view actually is related to the investment, is to create the behavior among the people. So once we push for the good behavior of investment, let's assume all the Malaysians have the awareness in terms of saving and investment. What will happen? So the people are aware, and all the financial provider like financial institutions, fund management company, investment company, they will try to give as much as attractive indicative return for it. So because of the people want to invest a lot of money to invest now, because they have the awareness. Once we don't have the awareness, nobody want to invest. So this discourages somehow all the fund managers, all the institutions to provide more products. And at the end of the day, the return that will be given to us will be lesser. So if you have more people want to invest, and the more fund management companies there, and more product available in the market, I believe that the people are seeking for more, what we call it, return. So it is not impossible, even though from 500 to 1 million is some sort of impossible in a way, but actually is achievable. It depends on how you structure your investment, how you structure your portfolio, how you structure your what we call it, your savings in that way.
Right,
So I
right.
think that could be my comment.
Right. Well, looks like that's all the time we have with you for you today, Dr. Azrul. Thank you so
Thank you.
much once again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon.
So to our viewers out there, if you're looking forward to your money being ethically managed through Sharia compliant approaches and at the same time be in the running to be rewarded with fabulous prizes all year long, do check out the Maybank Islamic Zestai account, which you can conveniently open online. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll now take a short break. When we return, we'll conduct the first lucky draw session, whereby 50 lucky attendees will each walk away with 30 ringgit Watson's voucher. Now remember, only registered viewers will have the chance to be randomly picked as a winner. So if you haven't registered yet, go ahead and do so now through the link in the description box below. See you in a bit! Welcome back, everyone. As promised, it is now time for our first lucky draw session. Okay, so let's bring out the lucky draw wheel that will randomly churn out the 50 lucky winners' names. And the winners go to... Congratulations! Alright, so congratulations to our first batch of lucky draw winners. We will reach out to you soon on the prize disbursement. So we will have 2 more rounds of lucky draw sessions to look forward to. Just make sure that you have registered for this webinar. If you haven't done so, do it through the link in the description box below. Moving on to our next agenda for today, I will be having a conversation with two of our guest speakers on Sikit-Sikit, Lama-Lama, Jadi Bukit. So today we have Suyin here, who is no stranger in the social media stratosphere. She is a financial vlogger who runs a YouTube channel on money management. Also, we have a gentleman here, Encik Norfazlinizam Rohamidi, who is the Communications and Public Affairs Division Manager from PIDM. Welcome to the show, Suyin and Fazli.
Hi, Crystal. Thanks for having us. Great to be here.
Hi, Mirza. Thank you.
Yes, hello. Right. So, just to ease, our conversations into this subject, Sikit-Sikit, Lama-Lama, Jadi Bukit, have you both heard of this World Savings Day prior to this? Not a clue, huh? Well, let me give you the context of this. Well, World Savings Day actually, it started since the 1920s to cultivate the habit of saving towards better living standards and to build people's confidence in financial institutions and banks. Rather than keeping their hard-earned money under mattresses or biscuit tins like what our forefathers would have done. Yeah. Now, with that said, Fazli, could you briefly tell us, how and when should one start saving?
All right. I would like to start by telling you the history of the deposit insurance. So basically, long time ago, between 1920s and to 1930s, there has been a significant number of bank failures in the US, which is known as the Great Depression in the banking crisis. And just between 1929 to 1933, is for about 5 years, more than about 4,000 American banks collapsed. So then the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, or it's known as FDIC, was established in 1933. So with that, it restored the public confidence towards the banking sector. And people started to save in the bank, so rather than keeping under their mattress at home, like you mentioned just now. So FDIC in the US, in Malaysia, we call it Perbanan Insurance Deposit Malaysia, or in full, it's PIDM. So PIDM basically is a government authority that protects your deposit in the bank, as well as your takaful and insurance benefit in the unlikely event of a failure of a member banks or insurer member. So as for bank deposit, as for your bank deposits, in other words, if a PIDM member bank goes bankrupt, fail, or close shop, PIDM will ensure that you as a depositor will have continued access to your deposit or to your money. So basically, PIDM protects your deposit up to 250,000 ringgit per depositor per member bank. So, and the protection is automatic. You don't have to pay or even to have to register for it to get protected or to get insured. And definitely a big thank you to our primary regulator, Bank Negara Malaysia, who always ensure that our banking system remains strong and robust, and there has been no bank failure up to today. So having said with that context, since you already know what is PIDM, why PIDM exists, and the confidence that you have in our banking system right now, so it is very important for us to start saving. So, and personal finance, definitely it's a personal journey, and it is definitely varies according to individuals, of course, based on your background, lifestyle, and things like that. And first of all, I would recommend that you need to set your goal. And your goal need to be something simple and realistic. Just write down your short-term and long-term goals, then only you would know why do you need to save up for. And most importantly, the discipline and the consistency, which I'm sure this is the tough part. Check on your progress and review your goals whenever necessary. So if you have not started your emergency fund as at now, please start doing so. And please treat this as your top priority. Okay, for your information as well, PIDM recently has rolled out our financial resilience campaign, this year. It's called Campaign Sedia Payung Kewangan PIDM. So the activities around the campaign includes a series of our animated videos on financial advice by Chief Beruang. Okay, Chief Beruang. Beruang, it's a Wong. A comprehensive microsite with a budget calculator, and webinars, and also other contents, all for free. And in fact, tomorrow will be our final webinar series. It's called The Champion Mindset, we're going to feature our Olympian, our Malaysian Olympian, Farah Ann, and also the Paralympian, Chia Lek Hao, the badminton player. And you may register at our City Payung Keuangan microsite. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. A webinar with the Olympians, huh? And I've seen those Chief Barang segments online as well. They're very creative. Suyin, perhaps you can share how you personally started your savings journey and any tips on how the viewers can start too?
Sure. Yeah, I'll be happy to share. I started off much like everybody else, a bit clueless. After my first job, the first paycheck, I spent most of it and I expected to have some savings at the end of that, but needless to say, there was nothing left, so I couldn't save. And I had to go through all of that. Like that's the start of the journey, right? And what I realized was actually savings is something that is quite easy to do once we figure out the system to it. And I figured out quite quickly on is that the best thing that we can do for ourselves is the moment we get our paycheck or income, take that money that we want to save and hide it away from ourselves, because we cannot be trusted for the most part to save after we start spending. So yeah, that's like the number one tip I have for everybody. And also, I guess like we talk about systemization. So the next thing that I did was I read a whole bunch of books about personal finance, and there are a whole bunch of them out there that we can find available. And what I realized was a lot of people talk about systems. So a very popular system for saving is called the 50-30-20 rule. And this categorizes our spending and saving for us. So it's very simplified. So 50% goes on to our needs, like our daily necessities, and like things like rent, food, petrol, car payments. And then 30% goes to spending on the things that we want. So things that actually help us like enjoy life a little bit more, like the leisure entertainment stuff. And then 20% of our pay goes to saving. So that actually gives us a rough framework of how to manage our money. And that works very, very well for a lot of people. For me personally, I like even more structure. So I have 6 different accounts that I play with. So I like this because it's very customizable and I can arrange my percentage of incomes between them. So the 6 accounts, I separate them into separate bank accounts, so I know that they are for specific purposes alone. So I won't double dip and touch into them for different reasons. So the accounts are an emergency fund, daily expenses, splurging, which is like a fun account, and then an investment fund, vacation fund, and a gift fund. So yeah, I guess my journey for savings has evolved progressively over time, and it's quite fun to figure out the system for us.
Wow, 6 different accounts for 6 different purposes. That's very clever. By having that, system in place, it actually helps you map out your financial goals and you are able to keep track, on how you have progressed along the way. And Suyin, I think it is also important for those who are just starting out to understand the beauty of compounded interest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's something that we all learn in school. Actually, we learned this in math class, compound interest, right? And there sounds like a minor difference between simple interest and compound interest, but there is a huge difference in our outcomes depending on what we're getting. So we need to pay attention to that. So for compound interest, we're actually going to be earning more money because we're earning interest on top of our principal amount that we save for, and also the interest. We're earning more interest when we are looking at compounded interest. So let's make this easy and put some numbers into perspective. There's a slide for all of you here. Say we are saving this amount of money. Let's say we're working with 5% per annum, which is per year, and we are only depositing 1,000 ringgit. So at the next year, what we have earned is actually 50 extra ringgit. And after that, the next year, because it's compounding interest, we're not just going to be left with 1,100 ringgit. We're actually going to be getting 1,102 ringgit 50 cents. So don't let this 250 fool you. It may seem small now, but give it more time to compound. And what we can see by year 8, year 10, the difference between that simple interest versus compounding interest is it's starting to grow in its gap. And if you add more zeros in your deposits, you can see that that's where it really makes a very big difference. And that's why they say that compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. And with time, this amount just escalates more and more. So it's quite exciting for us. And it's important for us to note this so that we know that we are in fact getting compound interest instead of simple interest. And also somewhere where it comes in handy is when we are, like, say, taking out loans. This also applies to us. Is it that we are getting charged in simple interest terms, or is it compounding that matters a lot?
Right. And your example just now assumed a one-off savings. So imagine the difference it would make with consistent monthly savings. Yeah, it'd be huge. So Suyin, you also mentioned briefly about investments as well. Could you elaborate further on the difference between savings and investments?
Sure, of course, I'd be happy to. So saving and investing, it comes as a team, along with earning money, of course. And think of savings as putting aside your money for a certain purpose that you will probably be spending it on something later on. And it could be anything really. You could be saving up for a child's education, for a holiday, for a home, for a car, a wedding. And it's think of it as the amount that we are saving is largely going to stay the same. Whereas for investing, you're actually looking at growing your money. So you're looking at buying an asset, and an asset is something that puts more money into our pocket, and it comes in the exciting forms of I guess like it could be monthly or quarterly cash flow, where it's like rental income coming in, or like dividends from your stocks or equities, or as opposed to that, you can think of it as capital appreciation, where you sell the asset later on and it has gain value. So yeah, I guess like before we talk about investing, we really need to master saving, and that's why we're here today.
Yes, and definitely master the art of earning too, yeah?
Oh yeah.
Now, since you're so passionate about savings and investing, how do you balance between these two?
Great question. I think a lot of us find it difficult initially because there's a limited amount of money that we have, right? And we want to save, and we also want to invest and grow our money. For me, again, working with that system that I mentioned earlier, it really helps because it like we all have priorities in life, and at some points in time, maybe saving is a higher priority, and maybe at different seasons in your life, investing is a higher priority. So what I would do is I would work with those percentages. So if you really want to look at investing and retirement, put a higher percentage, 20%, and then save 10%. So the beauty of it is fully customizable. You can change it at any point in time. And also, I guess like a great tip for everyone is to set some auto debits or like direct debits, standing instructions from your bank, so that you don't have so much like resistance when it comes to wanting to save the money. Like you just get it out, let the banks or institutions do it for you. Remove all the resistance.
Right. Technology and automation definitely helps making savings easier. Yeah. Now, firstly, care to chime in on the balance between savings and investment?
Right. We save money for a variety of reasons. Definitely, it can be something that our wants, for example, a new gadget or something, or it could be for the emergency fund, which can handle the unexpected events in the rainy days, for example. So for saving is the money that we want to be able to access very quickly and very immediately at no risk. And on the other hand, investing is the act of allocating your resources for some instruments with risk. So for example, you buy shares, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, or even invest in properties. However, I think you must be very careful before you start investing and know your risk appetite, because with the wrong step, you might lose all your money or even all your capital, because if you don't have the right knowledge to do so. So my advice is, before you go into any investment, please do some research. All right. So as a general guide, look out for the following to know if a product is a deposit product or a saving product, or even is an investment product. So primarily, saving acts as a reserve to meet your urgent or unexpected needs in the rainy days. So while investment aims to provide returns that help building up your wealth. So in terms of liquidity, saving accounts are highly liquid, as I said earlier. So you can have access to your money at any point of time. Investment, however, are less liquid, and almost all investment products may not have the immediate access. And you have to start selling or disposing investment. Definitely, this will take some time. Okay. Lastly, due to the higher risk of an investment, you may potentially get higher returns than saving. So this could mean that something for you to consider for your long-term goals, definitely. So there are, however, exceptions to the general guide above. So when in doubt, I would suggest that you contact your banks for more information. And nowadays, I saw there's a lot of scam cases relating to investment, a lot of investment scams, and also related to PIDM as well. So it's good that you yourself to remain extra cautious and obtain relevant information from the credible source, because information is everywhere. People can just throw in information, but having it from the credible source is very, very important and crucial. So if you are unsure, do not rush into making any investment decision because it's very risky. Okay, so you already know the difference between saving and investment. Okay, this is the part that PIDM, for your information, only protects savings or deposit at our member banks. So which means all the commercial bank and also Islamic bank are members of PIDM. So investment products such as ASB, gold accounts, unit trusts, they are not protected by PIDM. Right. And in the current pandemic, I think building saving first is more essential, is more priority right now than investment, because there are also possibility that people might lose their job, loss of income and things like that. So whereas investment, I would recommend that you can start it once you have extra money to save, or if you have already built up your emergency fund, then you can go into investment. So we have to always remember this, that when we ventured or putting ourselves into investment, so there's always a risk that we might lose all our money or even our capital. So you have to back to your own mission or your own goal. You have to identify your financial goals and what you want to achieve in the short term and also your long term, right?
Yes, and I think the pandemic definitely has highlighted the importance of having sufficient savings for unforeseen circumstances. Yeah. So, Suyin, has the pandemic changed your savings behavior?
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic has been very long and stretched out, right? So before the pandemic, I was already very intentional with where my money was going. You can tell, right? I'm a bit crazy. I have 6 different accounts separately, right? And what I guess I noticed, like what changed was that I started to move away the percentages, away from my vacation fund, because we're not going on vacation, and move more towards giving. I have that gift fund and it exists to help others. So I started giving a bit more to charity, started sending things to friends and family a little bit more, just to lighten up the mood. And I guess I also noticed that initially I started to save more during the pandemic, like we didn't need to spend so much on like petrol, like we were home, right, most of the time. So it was quite interesting to observe it all, and to look at my expenses in full after that. So yeah, some months I saved more, and then some months when I succumbed to like grab food or like ordering groceries in, yeah, that's when it was less saving. But it's always like an adjustment. Every month we can always like get back up on the horse and readjust again.
Right. Do you have any advice or recommendations, for the audience who may be struggling with the pandemic on how to cope through this tough time, or ways to find new sources of income?
Yeah, I think a really good thing that came out of the pandemic was that, like good and bad, I guess, is that we realized that we really cannot rely on just one single income alone. We never know how secure it may be. So a lot of people actually came out to try out different side incomes this pandemic, and I'm also one of them. And what I saw a lot of was that we have now a lot of home bakers, a lot of like home restaurants, and this I guess this mindset that we are able to try different things and to be willing to put that first step forward, I think that is something that's super important when it comes to working through such an uncertain time and something very new. So I like to give this example. What we want to do is we want to reach out for the lowest hanging fruit. So let's say if you're a teacher, a low hanging fruit type of second income source would be tutoring, because it already matches something like a skill set or a passion that you already have. So you can get into it in many different ways. There's that online sphere of like Facebook groups. People are constantly looking for tutors, and you can also get referrals from existing tutors who have their hands full with too many students. And I guess like really just participating in that online community, there's so much out there for us to try, and there's no shame in just taking that first step and giving it a go.
Yes, indeed. There are, just to add on what you have just said earlier, right? There are actually a lot of freelance opportunities online, which do not require much, specialized training or special skills, such as data entry, labeling, baby or pet sitting, or running errands for others. And there are, also lots of resources online which, you can upskill yourself with. And for those who may have talents such as baking, cooking, or photography, they can even start businesses on, platforms such as Sama-Sama Local, and try out their businesses, their hand in business. Also, Suyin, do you have any other tips or secrets on savings that you would be willing to share? I'm sure the viewers are all curious.
Sure. I guess my biggest tip, like after like paying yourself first and like using systems, something that a lot of us need to consider is to actually have a dedicated fund where we are treating ourselves. Because when we are so into saving and investing and the FIRE movement, we get very caught up and very obsessed over how much we are saving that we kind of deprive ourselves a bit too much. And that's why we really need a splurge fund or a fund, play fund, so that we have our current, like we care for our current selves and not just our future selves. So that's something that I highly recommend. It kept me sane all this while. And it's really nice to spend guilt-free as well.
Right. Fazli, what about you? Have you any tips to share with the audience?
How to save money? Very simple. You must save first before spending. But I must admit, we all are normal human beings who have the temptation to spend on things that we couldn't afford. That's normal. Okay, don't be guilty. So allow me to share some creative tips that I've found that is trending on social media. So for example, you can start with a no spend challenge, where you set a period of time that you don't spend any money at all. That's one. The second thing is the Kumpul Hijau challenge. Is save 5 ringgit notes. I always remember this back then when we haven't had this pandemic, that my colleague, whenever they go back from lunch, they come back from lunch, they all like have a meeting together. They're all discussing how many notes that you have, 5 ringgit, 10 ringgit. So they all like kumpul duit hijau, very, very hardcore. So everybody discussing about that. So I think it is something that is good. So it gives some motivation to the team members as well. Then there are also some apps in the market, I think, that can round your digital transaction and convert them into savings. And you can also go a classic way by saving your coins or using an envelope method, where you prioritize or you differentiate between this envelope for what purpose, for emergency, for transportation, for food and things like that. Right. Like another one, like what Dr. Azrul mentioned just now in our earlier session, looking at the current trend, people are spending heavily online, via online through shopping platform and things like that. So one idea that I personally have been practicing is to add to cart, okay, and wait for the discount, and then only I make the purchases. Right. One thing I have to tell you this, that I do not own a credit card before until just recently. So most of my expenses are cash based. Okay, there are, of course, there are advantages and disadvantages to having a credit card, but definitely you have to know yourself better. All right. Coming back to the purchase online, and for the big and expensive item, personally, I will add that to cart and work on my saving. So no doubt, the moment that I have reached the amount that I want to spend for that particular item, I feel guilty to spend for it. So end up, rather than spending for that particular item, I end up with money into saving. So that is actually better for me, right?
Right. By the way, is there a magic number on how much we should save, especially our emergency funds?
Yes, as I mentioned earlier, personal finance is a personal journey. So everyone is unique. So, but the sooner you start to save, the more saving you would be. You can start with as little as 10% of your monthly income. Before you spend, you straight away save that 10%. And then you have to revise and accordingly based on if you have extra income, then you have to top up or increase your savings.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, yeah. So I think you can start by consider to have the emergency of like 3 to 6 months of your monthly spending to meet the unexpected events or unexpected payment, right?
Mm-hmm. Suyin, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Those are really good rules of thumbs. And the first thing I did was actually in my financial journey was to build up my emergency fund. I think this is like the most important part of our financial security. And it helps us to build a good foundation to which the rest of our finances sit on top of. So yeah, three months is a good number. And in order to build out your emergency fund, you're gonna need to know a couple of things beforehand. So you're gonna need to know the key numbers, which is like your monthly expenses and your monthly income and your preferred monthly savings rate. And I read this book, and I always recommend this book to anyone who is interested in finances and who's getting started. It's called The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape. And it's Australian, but it has a lot of very good lessons that is like global, all of us can benefit from. And he talks about how the most important thing that you can do is just stop what you're doing and just put $2,000 in your emergency fund. And that's where you start. You start with a number in mind. So if that's too much, we can work with like 1,500 ringgit. And then every month we do that whole saving system, whether it's 10% of your income, 20% of your income, just keep pushing that amount of money until you fill your emergency fund to 3 months. And if 3 months is not enough for you, you can build to 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. And I guess like it's important to discuss this. Like it's about security, right? How much are we needing to feel secure? And as we know, no one could predict that a pandemic would come and affect a lot of people's incomes, and for some cases for more than a year, that people couldn't find employment with incomes that equated to their previous income pre-pandemic. So yeah, those numbers are a good place to start with.
Right, we also often hear about about financial security and financial independence. What do these mean to you, Suyin?
Yeah, financial independence is a very important thing to me, and I think everybody needs to have it in their life because of financial independence, then I get to choose the kind of life that I want. It affects what kind of work that I do, what I do as a job, and how I fill my time, and also the way I live my life. And I think it's extra important for females to consider financial independence because, we're often sold this idea that it's the males in the family who should be in charge of the finances. And I guess like by not having a say over our finances or financial independence, we don't have it, then we open up ourselves to a bit more uncertainty and we allow other people to control our lives. So ultimately, that's not how I want to live. Like, I don't want to live in this state of volatility and fear. So I guess like let's talk a little bit about financial security, which is like the baseline, right? So everybody just wants to figure money out, and like whether we think about it at the front of our minds or at the back of our minds, financial security means that, we won't go hungry or we won't be left without a place to stay, and that we have choices. So it's about gaining that peace of mind when we start to gain financial security. And I think it's important. Like everybody wants to thrive rather than just to focus on surviving day to day. And yeah, everybody deserves to have it. And it starts with like everybody needs to start at baseline, because we don't get born into this world knowing exactly what to do with our money. It takes time to learn, and like we can build from there. Anybody can do it.
Right. I can certainly relate to some of the points that you have highlighted there. There's something so liberating, when we're able to, earn and save, for ourselves, and not rely on other people. And at the same time, earn that little extra which we can spend on our loved ones, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So firstly, Suyin and I have a lot of, have some of our hard-earned money, stashed away in the banks. And we've spoken at length, why, people should save. Now, before we go and wrap things up and take questions from the audience, maybe firstly you could tell us, how are our hard-earned money protected when kept in banks? Since you're a representative from PIDM here.
Sure. Let me do a quick explanation on how your deposits are protected by PIDM. Okay, first of all, PIDM provides separate protection for your Islamic and also your conventional deposits. So these two are separately protected. For example, like Maybank, it's a separate protection for your money in Maybank conventional and also in your Maybank Islamic. So it's the protection is up to 250,000 ringgit. So for this case, 250,000 for your Maybank conventional and 250,000 ringgit for your Maybank Islamic. And then we go into another stream, which is a separate protection for the following accounts. For example, like individual accounts, the joint account, trust account, sole prop, partnership, business, all up to 250,000 ringgit per depositor per member bank. Yep, right. So we receive a lot of inquiries from the members of the public, whether should I split my money here and there, should I go into this bank or not this bank, things like that. We as a PIDM representative or frontliners, we couldn't advise you that which bank that you should go or should split your money to. I'm not also advising you to split your money here and there. So if you have faith in that and confidence in that particular bank, so basically you don't have to do so. And however, if you would like to maximize your protection, you can do so by having your deposits in the one that I mentioned just now, like Islamic conventional, and having a joint account and trust account, things like that. And even you can save in the multiple banks that is under PIDM's coverage. Yeah.
Are there any products that are not protected by PIDM?
Yes, definitely there are. Okay, for example, like deposits in branches and subsidiaries in or domestic bank outside Malaysia. For example, like Maybank in Malaysia and having a Maybank in Singapore, they are protected by another PIDM in Singapore. Investment accounts or product, interbank or money market placement, negotiable instrument, repurchase repo, unit trust, stocks, shares, gold-related. And even this is the most popular one right now, which is the cryptocurrencies. So these are all products that are not protected by PIDM. So in addition, I would like to emphasize also that PIDM not protect your loans, okay, as well as your monies that is lost to scam. So this is a very basic thing. This is a very basic and important thing. As a depositor, there are few things that you should know and you should be concerned about the safety of your deposits. So it's some question that you should ask, is my bank is a member of PIDM? So, and then the second could be like, what is the insured eligible deposits for myself, for my deposits, for example. And then the third one, it could be, how do I get my money back if my bank goes bankrupt? So basically this question will guide you to find the right information, I would say, that you need to know as a depositor, right?
Well, good to know that our hard-earned money and life savings are protected to some extent. While for investments, I'm sure we all understand that there are risks involved. Now, let's see if we have any interesting questions from the audience here. There's one here, okay? I think this one, I believe it is more related to Suyin. How should I balance between savings and paying off my loans?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question because at some point in time, we all have loans, whether they're education loans or car loans or housing loan. And again, this one it's very personal, right? But I guess like with all financial goals, we need to have a clear plan in mind. What exactly are we saving for? Like, what's the game plan? Is it short term? Is it long term? And when it comes to our loans, like something that we really need to consider is how much interest are we paying on the loans itself. So most education loans are low interest. So do you want to prioritize that, or do you want to prioritize something where you are actually paying a higher interest? You're getting charged a higher interest. And earlier where we were talking about the concept of compound interest. So this is where it's very relevant to your loans itself. Some of your loans are like when you pay them down, they're still the interest is charged based on that balance, and some is just based on a fixed payment schedule. So those are things to consider. And yeah, I think ultimately it's about having an idea where you have a percentage set for each. And again, like I know I sound a bit like a broken record, but it's about what season are you in your life? Do you want to pay down your loans more heavily, or do you want to save for something that's important to you more heavily? And as long as you have a percentage for each, I think you'll be okay.
Right. This one, I think to Fazli. Are funds saved in fintechs and e-wallets protected by PIDM?
Basically, no, they are not protected. Okay, the e-money service provider are not members of PIDM and are not protected directly. So, but there are circumstances or scenarios that they are protected. So, for example, like customers' fund are protected by PIDM if it's placed by the e-money issuer at PIDM's member banks. So then the reimbursement will be made in the event of that particular member bank fail, up to the limit of 250,000 ringgit, as I mentioned earlier. Right? If the funds are placed in a trust account, so each customer is separately protected. So for example, if that particular amount is safe in the trust account, each of that individuals are separately protected. Each of one will get 250,000 ringgit. But if the funds are placed in a deposit account, so it's just one lump sum deposit, so then there is no separate protection for all. So basically, this protection is not provided in the event of that particular issuer or e-money issuer fail or bankrupt. It's only for the member banks that it's fail or bankrupt, right?
Right. Okay. This one to Suyin. How do you juggle and manage with so many accounts, potentially across several banks?
Yeah, great question. You need to be able to remember all your passwords and usernames. Actually, I enjoy having these many accounts, and it's because I know what they are for me. Like I know for me personally, like my Maybank 2 debit accounts are for my daily expenditure and splurge, because I tend to use the debit card, so I know that it doesn't go through because I've overspent. Like having these systems in place where I have all these separate bank accounts means that I don't need to always track an Excel sheet, so I know the exact amounts of my different purposes for these funds. So I know like, okay, I have a little bit more money this month, I can start planning a vacation. Like it's simplistic as that. And it's not necessarily that everybody wants that many bank accounts. No, I'm not recommending that. I'm just recommending that you figure out what system works best for you. And yeah, I think it's fun for me to have this many bank accounts, but yeah, we we do need to keep track of our passwords and usernames.
Yeah, that's the security part that we have to live with.
Yeah.
Okay, this one also to Suyin, I think. New ways to save in the new norm. Any advice?
Okay. New ways to save right now. I guess like on top of having a certain percentage for our savings that we already talked about earlier, like something we can do. There's a new norm now. Like I'm actually at my workplace, and there's something that I noticed that like if I don't prepare meals to bring to work, I end up spending way more. Right? Something as simple as that, like going back to basics. Where can we save some extra money after we've done all the fancy things of setting up a system of kumpulan hijau or like a no spend day? Yeah, we want to go back to basics of seeing where is actually like where are we overspending really, and what else in these new conditions, like we notice very clearly that interest rates are much lower and inflation is a rising concern as well. So on top of like being mindful and practicing good saving skills, we are going to need to start to look at investing, like it or not, we do need to look at that and at capital preservation and following that capital appreciation. So this is as good a time as any to begin that journey into that space.
Right. Okay, I guess there's just one more, this one, which is why use a bank savings account instead of saving in high yield fintech? Suyin?
Yeah, okay. I think it's very important to start off with products that we are very familiar with. And you cannot get more familiar than a bank account, a simple bank account. And it's PIDM insured, as we talked about earlier, and it's safe. And most importantly, it's actually where we are able to access our money most liquid. Like we can get access to it in the time of need instantly. Whereas when we put our money into products, it takes a bit more time. But at the same time, I really do enjoy having these products into market, because what it does for us is it calls to our attention things like interest rates or how long it takes to move money, what other benefits do we have by putting our money into these fintech companies. And it just brings more awareness to this space, which is very advantageous for everybody actually. And I am a fan. I do use some of these for different purposes, mostly for short-term goals. And yeah, I think like it all brings back to it's our job to really discover the tools that are best for us, and it's okay to have a combination of each.
Right. Well, what an insightful session that has been, and I don't think we have any other questions here. Thank you so much once again, Suyin and Fazli, for your generous sharing with our viewers on all your wonderful personal tips and information about money management. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fazli. Thank you, Suyin. So to our viewers out here are some of the key takeaways from this session. So hopefully you will all give those tips a try and find them useful. Also, since you are gearing up to save, do check out our ongoing #SaveUp campaign, which offers a total of 100,000 cash vouchers to be won. All it takes is for you to save consistently and diligently. We'll now take a short break. When we return, we'll have the second round of Lucky Draw. Who are the next 50 viewers who will each win 30 ringgit Watson's voucher? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome back, everyone. As promised, it is now time for our second lucky draw session. Let's bring out the lucky draw wheel again. And the lucky winners are... Congratulations! Congratulations to our second batch of lucky draw winners. We will have one final round of lucky draw session at the end of this webinar. For the grand finale, there will be Sony wireless headphones, a GoPro Hero 8, and a Huawei P40 up for grabs. Just make sure that you have registered for the webinar. If you haven't, do so through the link in the description box below. Now, ladies and gentlemen, during times of change like this, change continues to gain its momentum, and the same can be said from the way we conduct our business or work meetings, interviews, or conferences and hybrid working arrangements, which demand that we be agile and be ever ready to face people in person or through screen in a presentable, respectful, and professional manner. Hence, as our final topic for today's webinar, we have with us today Ms. Sheila Wong, who is an international image consultant, author, and personal image brand expert to coach us on from face to face to screen to screen. Welcome to the show, Sheila. We can't hear you. Sheila, I think you're muted.
All right. Thank you, beautiful Krista. Thank you for this glorious introduction of me. Can you hear me now?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right. Thank you. And to our beautiful audience out there, good afternoon to all of you. And let me ask you one very important question, everyone here. Would you like to attract more opportunities into your life? I believe it's a big yes, whether it's to attract the partner of your life, your dream job, or your dream contract, or even your dream investment, right? So by attending this talk, you are taking your first baby step to achieve that. Now, whether we are professionals, a business owner, a student, or even a homemaker, we are often judged or misjudged on the way we present ourselves. It could be in the way we dress or the way we project ourselves that has led us to win or wreck a deal, to make or break trust. Now, not dressing the part of your role in society will often result on you being judged as incompetent or less professional, even if you are the best in the world at what you do. Now, this is why you must ace it, whether you are having face-to-face meeting, which we call F to F, or screen-to-screen, S to S. Almost all sectors in our industry are now open for physical business. People are dying to go out, been locked down for so long. Even me, I'm dying to go out, and I love to dine in now because it's a chance for me to dress up and see and be seen. And for many of us who have had an all low are now busy doing everything possible to recover from this economic setback. But you're not alone. Many out there are eyeing for the same piece of cake as you do. So how do you make yourself stand out so that you can grab a bigger piece of the cake or even creating another cake? So it's apt at this point of time for Maybank to have this Save Up webinar. And I hope that you will take home today is, what you take home today is how you can look $1 million without breaking your bank account. I like what Suyin was saying just now, that you save a bit, then become Bukit. So it's the same. I'm going to give you some tips on how Sikit-Sikit in your wardrobe can jadi Bukit. So it will magnify your presence. Now, I've been helping more than 60,000 people to look from ouch to wow and from good to great. And today, I hope to be able to give you some spark on how to start that same journey. Let me ask you this question. Every time when you go out and you see someone, do you start to make a decision about how this person is? Maybe you can say it's a perception, maybe you can say it's a judgment, right? Now, it's already confirmed by body language experts that in 7 seconds, people make 11 major decisions about us. And the latest research was done by Harvard Medical School as well as New York Open University. And what are all these decisions based on? I'm sure a lot of these have crossed your mind. When you look at this person, you say, is it trustworthy for me to invest my money with him? You know, does he look successful? That he wants me to follow him as his downline? Because when we follow leaders, we want to look at the success factor of the leader, or maybe even the status. The status could be from the bag they carry, the car, but maybe more for me is the level of confidence that they show when they come out and stand and present themselves in front of us. And I think even from the shoes, we can tell a person's lifestyle, right? And we will also start to judge whether this person has got career competence, whether this person is responsible, has got a good sense of humor, and we also start to judge their education level. And for those who are looking for life partners, you'll be looking at whether this person has got this desirability kind of an essence. And there are many, many more as well. So what then is this first impression about? So let me show you this particular picture. When you look at this slide of these 4 professional people, they are all dressed to the nine in their suits. They all look very empowered and they all look very successful, if you agree with me. But who is the first person that strikes you the most? That means has a higher impact, a deeper impact on you. I believe everybody will say it's the one who sleeps. Isn't it so? Now, this is human nature. If, I will ask all the men out there, if you do 10 things right to your girlfriend, your partner, or your wife, and you just happen to commit one wrong action, which one do you think your girlfriend, your partner will remember? The 10 things right or the one thing wrong? I am sure. And men say the women are very sensitive. We remember this one wrongdoing for the rest of our lives, maybe perhaps until the next lifetime. Yes? Now, it's the same for every one of us. When we see somebody who's so gorgeous looking, maybe like when I see Crystal on the road, I cannot help but take a second look at Crystal because she's so gorgeous. And yet, somehow or other, our eyes will also pick up the negative things. I'm sure among ladies ourselves, we pass comment. Look at him, he's a hunk of a man. But look at the bulge in the stomach. Look at the bulge here, look at the bulge there. This is things that we notice. So what I want to tell you is you can be perfectly all right, but you just have one wrong action. It could also wreck your impression. And this is what first impression is about. The first thing is what the eyes can see is the visual impact. What the eyes can see, the 55% forms the overall 7% impression. And this overall impression is how you project yourself, the clothes you wear. Do you know that the colors that you like tell a lot about your personality as well as your mood? And the way, even if you wear your shirt, your tie, or your suit, it may not give you the success that you want because it's the way you wear it. Have you ever experienced when you see someone walking into the room, there's nothing really, this person is not having something very fanciful, but there's something about this person that speaks of success. It's his aura, the way he projects himself. And that part could be even the non-verbal, the body language. So how you put everything together will give people an impression. Which level are you? People cannot help but judge us, and we cannot help but judge people. And our mothers tell us not to judge people. It doesn't matter how they look. What is important is the brain. What is important is the heart, the kindness. But how would we know how kind is this person? How would we know how brilliant is this person if the packaging is not brilliant? Have we actually been a victim of this? I'm sure we have been, especially when we don't feel like dressing up on a bad hair day and we bump into somebody we like. And say, oh my God, he should have come yesterday. Yesterday I dressed better. As if you know which day you dress better, right? So you never know. Opportunities are always there. Are you prepared? And this first impression is only visual, 55%. Next is how you sound. The vocal is 38%. If a lot of us have to do business through the phone, it's the voice that shows whether are you enthusiastic or not. If I would address you, okay, maybe I will address Suyin, who just came on just now, all right? And Suyin has given us a wealth of information. I find it so relevant to us. And this is how I'll greet Suyin. Hello, Suyin. Do I sound like enthusiastic to meet her? Do I sound like, hello, Suyin? Hello, Suyin. Your presentation was just amazing. I've gained a lot from you. Do I sound sincere? Whereas this way, hi, Suyin. It was so amazing, your presentation. Do I sound sincere now? So it's the voice. And the voice, how do you make someone feel important? Because when you are able to make somebody feel important, they will like you already. And this is one part of the impression. So be very enthusiastic when you meet people. A good morning with a raised eyebrow helps a lot. Now, if you have got winning impression, only I need to know, and only I want to know, and only I'm interested to know what you have to offer me. That is the verbal. That how great an expert you are in your financial matters, how good you are in your job, you are the expert matter. But I wouldn't want to know it if your first impression is not believable. So I want to talk a lot about face-to-face as well as screen-to-screen. But let's talk about our body image first. When we talk about image, a lot of, in the past, I would say in the past, because I've been in this industry for a long time, men have got this misconception. I'm not going to come for image because after all, this is for ladies in need. It is very frivolous. It's very superficial. But well, with the advent of social media, that's not the case anymore. More men are coming because they feel that, hey, the women are grabbing a bigger part of the market share and we can't lose out. You must agree that people who are better packaged have got more attention and higher respect. And of course, when you have got the first impression right, this is where the second impression comes. So let's talk about your self-image. Your self-image is talking about your whole body. When you look at somebody who is stunning, do you look at this person from top to toe? You do, isn't it? Normally we do. And then we start to look at this person. And when we like this person, now we start to have this interaction. We look at the face. Do you know that the face forms 80% of our body image? There is a very big percentage. So let's address the face first. I would like to address this screen to screen because now is the norm. Even if the market has opened, we are going out more often. You cannot avoid the fact that a lot of us are still skeptical about coming into physical contact. And this is where screen to screen is going to stay. I'll be going to Australia in December. And why can I go longer this time? Because I'm able to have screen to screen meetings with my client. So what is this screen to screen? We are talking about your portrait personality. So if you are already watching on your handphone, on your Android, or you're watching on the computer, it doesn't matter. What I want to address is how could you project yourself confidently, professionally in front of the screen? So to do that, understand about portrait. If you look at your chin from 12 inch down, that will be your portrait. When you take an IC photo, when you take a passport photo, do you ever actually only take the head? I'm sure you don't. Now, let's say if I were to present to you today, only showing my face, do you feel that I have gone too near you? That means I have encroached onto your intimate territory. When you meet someone face to face, how far apart do you stand from that person? Give it a thought. Isn't it about 1 arm's length? If you've been taught the handshake, we talk about 1 arm's length when you have the handshake. Half an elbow to half an elbow equals to 1 arm's length. It's the same when you're doing screen to screen. All you need to do is bring your hand. If you can touch your mirror, you can touch your camera, you are a comfortable distance away. All right. So that is called your portrait. So even when you take your portrait photo, this is how it's going to be. It's about 1 arm's length, right? If I were to sit too far away, can you see that? It is like I'm at a public zone now. It's the same like when I'm meeting somebody and I'm speaking very far away, I'm not being sincere. So 1 arm's length is the best one. From there, let's talk about what are some of the little habits that could wreck your first impression, right? I'm sure you have seen this where some people, maybe their home environment is not desirable enough to have this screen to screen. All you need to do is to find a very clean corner. How do you find it if you only see the face, only see half the face and you only see the eyes? So you can't connect to this person. And I have also caught people, especially in the initial stage, where they didn't know that the camera is on and they are playing with their toes, or maybe they walk about, the bottom is not fully dressed. So be a bit more conscious of this, right? You don't even know that your camera is on when you are in a hurry. And how can you reach out to people and how can you attract opportunities if your face is all dark? So make sure the lightings are good. How to ensure the lightings are good is if you are facing the window, not your back against the window, or you can have a light, the screen light that is so affordable nowadays, right? Like for me now, I am not facing the window, but my window is on my right-hand side. So I have got natural light and I still have got my ceiling light. On top of that, I have got my zoom light as well. So I want to make sure that my face can be seen. So just be a bit conscious of how bright your lighting is. Next is this, right? You see a dark room and a bright room. You can connect with the girl who you can see the face. A lot of us, we have got the tendency to turn off our camera. Why? Maybe because we are not ready for the Zoom. Maybe we are shy. Maybe we are not well groomed. Maybe we forget to brush our teeth. I'm not sure. But I've seen this before. When I do corporate workshops, half of the screen is black. Now, if your screen is black, it's just as good as when you talk to someone and your back is turned towards that person. If I talk to you today and I'm not looking at you, do you find that I'm rude? So having the camera off will be a sign of not courteous behavior. I'm going to address also the color afterwards because what you wear online and what you wear face-to-face is a little different, all right? So when we cover the colors part, I shall cover that. Now let's address face-to-face, meaning when you have got the physical meeting. So what is this physical meeting about? It's really about the minute you walk into a room, people will actually look at you from top to toe, right? So ensure that you have got a very pleasant personality. Ensure that you command a very positive first impression. So I start from the top again as usual. Now, if you look at this, I will address the hijab ladies, right? There are A, B, C, D here. Which one is less professional looking? It's very subjective. But let me tell you, if you're wearing a tudung, your tudung is like your hair. So if your tudung is your hair, what I want to see is a shining personality. So in order to have that, the first thing is when you have a slimmer neck, you project more of you. Now, if you compare A and B, do you find that B has got a bigger neck, a fatter neck? So let's say if your face is really small, you are already lost, you're drowned inside B, right? Now, if you are petite, you say, because I'm petite, I need to have a more fluffy neck like B. It can be done if you are tall. If you are not tall, if you're 5'3", that means if you're 158 and below, you find that suddenly you also disappear. So how could you attract opportunity if your personality doesn't shine? Next is if you look at C, it is beautiful. I love this style because it's very stylish. The way she does the scallop and the way she put it to the side is very voluminous, and it only works if you are tall. So I'm not very tall. So if you imagine, if I were to wear this, it's like a tortoise walking towards you. That is the effect. You don't even know that. So be a bit more conscious of your height. So if I like this style, does my height, or does it augur well with my height? And we look at D, which is a V shape. All right. When it's a V shape, and if your body is a bit on a plus size, this will help you to have a slimmer body line as well as slimmer looking faces, because creating the V will create a more well-toned face. So it seems. So all these are called optical illusions. We can use this to deceive the eyes. Why not? Because after all, we use clothing to work for us. We don't want to be a slave to fashion, but rather we use fashion to work for us. So if C is the latest fashion, but if you do not have the height, I suggest that you do not want to have this C style, okay? The A style is nice, but some of you may be very conscious because of your cultural belief. And this is where you will feel more comfortable if you do a D and put it a bit longer. At all times, for the ladies who are more conscious of their size, your tudung, try to go not over, do not extend over your shoulders, but go within your shoulders to give you a slimmer silhouette. Now, let's check this now for the non-hijab ladies. Which one looks more credible? Who looks more credible? Then you'll be saying, it really depends. If you work in Nike, of course, you have to dress like B. But if you are working in finance, definitely it's an A. If you are into lifestyle where you like to go for high tea, a C would be good. But at any point of time, if you are working in an office, the safest will be an A. Anything that has structure, anything that is more slim-fitted, will give you more authority. I think what you want is authority. But of course, if you're working in a fitness center, you can't dress as A. So then you have to go with the image of B. So really very much depends on the profession that you're in. So I would take it that if you are working in the office, whether you're working in SME or whether you're working in big corporations, as long as you're working in the office, try to observe the knee length policy. Now, ladies who wear their skirt until the knee length, this is called international standard. You are dressing the way where anywhere in the world you go is accepted, that you are credible, and then you look trustworthy. Now we move on to this. Now for the gentleman, if you look at A, B, and C, can you imagine the man wearing this outfit on A with his sports jacket and his bright chinos pants and a thick scarf over? You'll be thinking that he's gone cuckoo in Malaysia. Well, it's acceptable in a country that has got autumn or winter. It's trying too hard for me. I've seen guys who actually dress this way, trying to make an impression. Not even in the shopping center. I think this is not the right way, but you could wear a scarf. I actually teach men to wear a scarf, but with what? Silk scarf. Not with this woolen, right? Yeah. We see a lot of this B, especially on the street. Sometimes the cafe, you have got all kinds of people going to the cafe, right? You've got A, B, and C, and straight away you start to typecast their profession. There's no right, there's no wrong. It's just that which is more appropriate. So in terms of, if you want to send out a very professional image, of course it's C. But if you walk about the streets in C, fully suited, that means a full suit. What is the meaning of full suit? Same color of the jacket with the same color of the pants, same fabric is called a full suit. It will be too formal walking on the streets, and you're going to all your oil glands is going to your oil is going to come up from your oil glands, so it's a bit too not practical for this country. But for me, if I'm going for a business meeting and if I'm a man, right, and if I think that this meeting is very important and it's a very formal meeting, I will dress in C. That means a full suit. And when I go to the event and I find that, hey, it's not as formal as the invitation says that it is, I can always remove my jacket. I can always remove my tie. But what if I go to this particular meeting, which is a formal meeting, thinking that all Malaysians will come dressed just in A, without the scarf? Where are you going to find the tie? Where are you going to find the socks when you arrive at the place of the meeting? So it's always better to be fully groomed so that you can remove it if it's not appropriate. Now let's look at this. This is talking about why when you have the right image, you have the right image, right? But the wrong cut, it could also wreck your image. So I want to address the gentleman now. This is the same model, same pants, but different shirt. If you look at the one in pink, the one in white, and the one in black tops, which one look taller? I just wanted to address this part. Which one looks taller? Most men, I wouldn't say all men, right? Men have a desire to look taller. So if you have a desire to look taller, definitely the white one will make you look taller. But do you know wearing all white also sends out an impression? It's very psychological, by the way, because in image, we can address the physical part, the psychological part, the artistic part, as well as the social aspect, right? So if you look at the all white, it sends out the impression this person is quite a Romeo. And if you look at the black and white, this person is quite dramatic, right? I have put this picture out before. Most of the men will not go for the all white because they feel that it's a bit too much if it's all white, which is true. But if we talk in terms of how tall you look, it will be the white one, right? But if you want to address this physical part so that you look more soothing, definitely is the pink one. But we don't talk about the shoes, right? The black and white is definitely more outstanding. So this is subjective, but what I want to address is the length of the pants, right? The point is the length of the pants. If you're not tall and you follow fashion, rolling it up, cuffing it up this way will make you look shorter. So I suggest that, gentlemen, if you want to look taller, you may not want to cuff up your pants until above your ankle bone. So you do not want to turn it up. And color of the socks matter. So I give you a suggestion. The suggestion is, this is for the business look. So for the business look, the shortest that the length of the trousers could go is to cover the ankle bone. And you need to have dark socks. In order to have the success factor, polish your shoes. Now, nowadays, a lot of men, they wear trainers, which in the past was called sneakers. The new name is called trainers. So the minute you wear trainers, you become less formal. But it's your choice because maybe you are not into a formal industry, you're in the lifestyle industry, right? Just remember, shoes and belt must match. And the best is you wear socks when you're in business. Now, in the past, there's this thing called masters are fully clothed, slaves are little clothed. That is the reason why if a man doesn't have socks, it feels like he is a slave. Now, this is one of the rules of men's grooming. Business grooming. Lifestyle is different. Lifestyle, you can do anything you want because it's lifestyle. So if you come from the fashion industry, there is no rule. But as long as you are in finance, you are a lawyer, you're a doctor, it's best to follow this rule. It makes a lot of difference. So you want to use dark socks to elongate. A man who wears polka dot socks, colorful stripes, what is the impression that is sent out? It's telling you a story, right? And the story is not formal. So you want to have pleasing proportions and you want to have an empowering professional image, wear dark socks. Now, we move on to colors, which is a big part. If you look at somebody for the first time, which one are you more attracted to? Are you more attracted to the colors, to the cut, or to the style? Which one? I would say highly likely is the color, especially if this person is wearing high color. The same cutting, if a person is wearing black and a person is wearing red, you will notice the red first. Yeah. So how could you use colors to empower and to enhance? But you do need to know a little bit about the psychological effect. So let's start with this. If you have not had lunch, I show you this one, I'm sure you get hungry straight away. So we're showing you the McDonald's logo. Look around you, not only in Malaysia, all over the world. Any fast food chain, they are all in high colors. They are all either bright red or bright yellow. Why is it so? There must be a reason for this. KFC is red. Carl's Jr. also, even though if you go to the place to dine in, if you look at the logo, it's all red. Why? Because high colors, high warm colors like red and yellow, it stimulates your appetite. Why do you go to McDonald's and you want to order the extra fries? You don't need that. But why do you want to have that? Because you just need to have that extra to satisfy yourself, right? Then we go into this. Cool color, dark cool colors. The gentleman trying to impress the woman will take the woman to fine dining. And have you ever find a restaurant that is fine dining that has got high colors or has got dark cool colors? And normally when it's dark cool colors, this environment will calm you. Even the woman who is more aggressive have a tendency to speak softer, have a tendency to walk more graceful, and even the men too. So these dark cool colors calms you and suppresses your appetite. So you go into the fine dining restaurant, you open up the menu, you look at the menu and you order that little bit. And you feel full because it suppresses and you want to be on the best behavior. But the minute you leave the restaurant in the bright lights, you feel hungry again, right? So this is how cool colors can suppress your appetite. Now, if cool colors can slow down your blood circulatory system, suppresses your appetite, what can it do to you when you are wearing it? And if bright colors can increase your appetite, right, can stimulate your appetite, can make your blood circulation raise, what can it do to you when you wear it on yourself? So this is where we're getting at. So in colors, there is a temperature, and that temperature is very psychological. When the sun rises and it hits the earth, so you feel warmed, and most of the colors that you see are warmed. The red is warmer. At night, the red appears cooler, right? So warm color, that means when the sun rises, people come out to work, meaning warm colors are more active color. So because it's more active color, and you will find, this is just very psychological, maybe in an event, you find that these people are more friendly, more cheerful, more kind. Perhaps they're the one who say hello to you. So that is what warm colors tell you. And you can also look at your own clients or your friends, people who have a tendency or more inclined towards warm color. Are they the more active people? Are they the more cheerful people? Are they the more optimistic people? Right. It doesn't mean that the cool colors are not optimistic, but it's the impression that it sends out that those who wear cool color, this is the time when the moon is up. And this is the time when we finish work, we are more rested and we want to be more calm. So people who like cool color appear to be more quiet, more reserved, more aloof. Actually, you can see. How do you know? If you look at your clients, they always come in wearing more quiet colors. They probably take a little while to break the ice. Right? You can start to observe. Tell me if I'm wrong. I've been doing this for the past 2 decades, and it has proven that 95% of the time it is right. Unless this person have already gone through the psychology of colors, they choose to deceive you. It can be done as well. But most of the time, when you are not dressing under pressure, that means you are very relaxed, you will probably pick up the colors that best resonate with you. A lot of us are a mix of both. What is the mix of both? It's a combination of warm and cool. So when it's a combination of warm and cool, you give people the impression that you are more balanced, more safe, more expected. And that was how I see of our dear Suyin just now. I can only relate to Suyin because I only saw her just now, right? And of course, I also saw Krista. Krista, I've known her, is also the same. That means she can be very sociable if she wants to, and she can be very quiet if she wants to. Now, I've been doing this for 20 years, I told you. For the last 10 years, now all these are done, these are observations by psychologists. But for the last 10 years, I observed something very, very peculiar. People who are mix of both, can also be very temperamental. If I like you, woo, I'm so friendly with you. If I don't like you, I'm so cold to you. The men say this is actually the peculiarities of the woman. I'm not sure. Maybe it's like Melbourne weather. Yeah. Okay. Now let's address the physical part first and also the social aspect. We'll help you with this first. I know that you like to know a lot more about the psychological part. Each time I talk about colors, a lot of people want to find out about the psychological part. But let's address this so that it can help you to dress better, to attract opportunity, right? Most important is you want to have a pleasing impression. That means when you walk out there, you want people to feel that you are easy to be connected with, that you are easy to get along, and yet you're still professional, right? So I want to talk about the warm and cool colors. I take it that this is a very basic class, and I just want to share the very basic things that everybody will find that very easy to use, whether man or woman, all right? So if you are doing, I will talk about online, the screen to screen and face to face now. Now, if you are using white color or pastel color, all right, and it's all very white, and people tell you that you look very soft, that means it's like you are so soft until sometimes you're not noticeable. If you're not noticeable, you're ignorable. What you could do is use a bit of dark color to have that contrast so that you stand out. So you want to balance that. Let's say if you're very serious and people say, hey, when I do not know you, I dare not go near you because you're so serious. So if you are very serious and you are very inclined towards dark color, I suggest that you mix it with a bit of lighter, whiter colors to have that harmony there, all right? Now, I didn't talk so much about cutting, but what you need to know is if you want to project authority, you want to go for more fitted clothes. And you'll be saying, if I wear more fitted clothes, I have got image challenges. My bulge will show. Well, your bulge won't show if you know the right cutting. Maybe when we have opportunity, we will talk about the cutting later on. But I want to address this part because this will also help you for your online, right? So let's talk about this first. If your tudung is very dark, and then your baju kurung is very dark, your backdrop is very dark, you and the backdrop, everything is one. I don't see you anymore. So that's why you need to have that contrast, especially if you are screen to screen, that is so important, right? Now, if people pass the comment that you're not so friendly, you could use colors to deceive by using warm colors, but you do not like the bright red. So you can always use lighter shades of red, lighter shades of orange. That means the more pastel one. So when you have the lighter shades of warm, it gives people the impression that you are more friendly. Now, if you're going to have, if your meeting is going to be like 2 hours long, what you want to do is to use lighter shades of warm as well. Cool colors normally can tahan longer. That means I can look at you for longer periods of time. But if you are on the stage, you need to be outstanding. Of course, you need the brighter colors, right? So here, if you look at A, the picture A here, if you are using something dark on top, you want to use something lighter at the bottom. If you feel that your bottom is heavier, this one man won't understand, woman will understand. You see from the waist up, you look so slim, and then from the waist down, you look so heavy. You can do it the other way around. You can use darker at the bottom and lighter on top. But if you are not tall and you use lighter on top and darker at the bottom, that means you do a horizontal match, you actually look shorter. I would suggest that you use, what you want to do is you use all light inside, and then you use an outer piece, which is a cardigan, all light. So that will help. That means either a dark inside or a dark outside. So it's two tones. So you play with that dimension. It makes you look slimmer and it's more interesting. There's more depth to your personality. Now for the man, I will show the man in a little while, okay? But let's talk about this. Look at the B picture. If you got very strong personality, that means you can make up very well. Your eyes are big, your eyebrows are dark, and all these things. So when you use lighter shades of warm color, it just blends beautifully. If you don't have makeup and you use very light, you will just disappear. This is where the frame matter. So you can use darker frames. Now we move on to the man now. How to wear warm and warm. For men, I want to give only one basic rule. Because remember, you want people to accept that you are credible, that you look pleasing to the eyes. So for the gentleman, once you are using cool colors, please match cool with cool, warm with warm. Okay, we start with step 1 first. So what is cool with cool? If you look at picture A here, he's using white. White is a cool color. And if you look at the gray, it's also a cool color. So it is very soothing. If I look at this person, he has got dimension. Why? Because his face is dark and his t-shirt is white. So you can see that he stands out there. Can you imagine this model, this A model wearing a black shirt? You can't really see him anymore unless he smiles, right? So this is where he needs to use the lighter color for him to stand out. Now, if you are something like B, where you've got lighter skin, you can wear cool and cool too. So I want to show you this warm and warm. Yellow is warm. So if he wears a brown, he will look good as well. So you want to go this way. And this is a modern way of dressing. Even men nowadays, they wear warm colors, right? If you wear a darker color, that means if you wear A and you wear a darker pair of pants, it will look a little bit more formal. So warm with warm, and the brighter colors are the one give people the impression that you're not serious enough in a business setup, in a formal setup. So if they are in lifestyle, they are in F&B, is totally fine, right? Like Maybank has got Friday dress down. How dressed down can you go? I think the most dressed down you want to go is an A. Can you imagine a banker coming in a B with the yellow, with this bright yellow and these green chinos? Right? It's very fashionable. I'll be very attracted, but I'll find that, can I trust this person with my money? So this is the part. Can I trust you in your profession? You ask yourself this question. Yeah. So I give you some ideas on how to match the safe way, right? So the safe way is you want to match the same family. That means the father, the son, the grandfather. So it's the same here. Then the mother, the daughter, and the granddaughter. So this way. So here it's called the same family. If I have a peach that is a warm color, and if I want to have another color so that it's more flowing, so that I look longer, I want to have a lighter peach. So I go 2 tones lighter. If I need to have another color, I will go with a neutral that is a brown color. So it's all a warm color. The most that I want to do is to use a darker color jacket to have that contrast. That one is your choice. So you see there are 2 ways for you to match here. Even for the men, for those men who wants to look taller, let's talk about this, right? If you want to look taller, if you're wearing this peach color here and you wear a lighter tone, so the effect is more elongated, but it's not so formal. So if you wear this polo tee and you wear a navy blue, you look a little bit more formal. So the choice is yours, whether you want to look formal or whether you want to look taller. So some of you are already tall, you can afford to look formal, right? So these are some ways for you to match. So coral goes very, very well because coral is a warm color with all the earth tones. If you want a contrast, only you use a darker one. So if you have a high contrast, make sure, ladies, you do have some makeup on. Otherwise, you look washed out. Now, this is very Korean now, and the Koreans like all this light pastel look. So light pastels look are very good because it gives the impression that you are more friendly, as long as you have the right cut. Now, I also like to address this part. Can you see this lady in jeans? So if your legs are heavy, these skinny jeans may not be your best option. So what you want to do is to wear a little bit of slim fit, not the skinny fit. All right, that means not the skin tight one. You see, when you have got warm colors, especially for the hijab lady, can you imagine you wear this green and you wear a black tudung? It's just like your head is one part and your body is one part. So it looks quite scary sometimes when you have 2 different parts. So in order to have harmony, you want to have a flow of the warm and the cool and cool. Okay? Okay, so these are more lifestyle already. And you see, when you're wearing all the light colors, it comes across as very friendly, maybe a little bit too friendly. So if you are a professional, what you have to do when you're wearing this way and it's a Friday dress down, yes, you need to have at least a more earthy handbag. That means you need to have at least a neutral. So this gentleman over here, he can wear a denim and a denim, so it will elongate, but he is already tall. But this suggestion would be very good for the gentleman out there. If you want to have lifestyle dressing and you like to be a bit more fashionable and you want to look after your statue, this is what you can do. Okay, almost the same tone. This is how you elongate your body. What about if I give you something, the Sikit-Sikit jadi Bukit? That means, right, you want to save. Now we're talking about savings. I also want to save. So in order to save, that means we give you one dress and many, many different looks. All right. So everyone can invest in a black dress, not a black jacket, a black dress. So the black dress, if you're working in the office, has to be knee length. If you're not working in the office, you try to have knee length as well in case you need to have a formal occasion. Of course, you can wear the little black dress, but it's micro mini. So then you will look completely different from others, but you may not fit in the office environment. Now, for a very young lady, and you want to look more authoritative, then you go for a darker jacket. Look at the center one, right? Now, if you go for a black jacket on top of your dark, and if your skin is dark, you are also going to disappear. So in order for your personality to shine, remember your face forms 80% of your body image. You need your face to shine. Then you need to have clean skin, but not all of us are born with clean skin. Make sure your hair is up. So if you are into hijab styling, then make sure that your tudung is lighter color. All right. So when you have your hair up, your face will shine. Then the whole thing, there's a contrast, you look more sophisticated. So even though she's young, you see, she look more credible now, right? And some of you say, I don't want to look too formal. Yeah, I want to look a bit more toned down, more friendly. Then you go to the right-hand side of the slide, the gray jacket. So it's more modest. And you can have your hair down a little. If you observe carefully, as long as you have got dark thing, I will urge you all to tie the hair up. So there are many ways to tie the hair. Make it high to look more youthful, to look more energetic. Make it low to look a bit more matured if you are very young. But if you're already matured, you may want to have it higher up. And if you do not know how to tie your hair, at least half up. So the lighter the jacket, the more friendly. The darker the jacket, the more formal. And if you remove the jacket completely, then it can be just smart casual already. And you can also dress it up with accessories. So if you've got time, I'm going to show that in a little while. Okay. And what about this? So sometimes black is okay, but try not to go overboard. What is the meaning of overboard? Where your tattoos are seen. It's all right to have tattoo, but really cover it because they come across as a loan shark, if you mind my language. Okay. Now, having something that is basically, I've got nothing against this two way of dressing because it's very casual. It's just that when you have tattoo, it's best to keep it to yourself because not everybody is acceptable to this type of very artistic way of expressing yourself. Okay. Okay, then we go into bright colors. So sometimes when we use warm colors, how warm can we use? Which one is attract and which one is distract? That means your image can be an attraction and can be a distraction, right? So for an attraction is what? It's definitely A because it's a deep red. You find that this man is more grounded. The B one, it is a distraction. Surprisingly, when you're on screen, it looks okay. It's only when you have a physical meeting. I believe you have this experience when you meet somebody in a bright red jacket and especially if you are the type, you are more cool kind of a personality, you get taken aback. You could probably also move 3 steps back because you find that this color is just too much for you to handle, right? So what you want is a color that the majority can accept. And if you like warm colors, go for A, which is one that most people can accept. Now, if you're wearing the A one, which is a bit darker, make sure you've got hair, mustache and all, keep it well trimmed. Now, let's look at the next one here. My advice to all of you, right, in order for you to have more savings, right, you also want to put your money into the savings account or to save more, always invest in a white shirt and a light blue shirt. These two are going to give you a lot of mileage. So your white must be really white and comes out not another kind of white, already a gray. That means put into the washing machine, don't mix with anything, and it's well pressed. It gives people the impression that you have clarity, you know what you're doing, and it is very, very empowering. And even the light blue shirt, because what's the meaning of the light blue shirt? Is about truth, is about calm, is about cool. And ladies like men who have got clarity. And even you yourself, it will affect you psychologically. So just remember, a white and a blue, you can use it if you're working in the office. You can also use it even if you are in a very casual environment. One day I went down, I was coming back into my condo. I met one of my neighbors who rushed out into a Grab. He was only wearing a basic white shirt, but it was so well pressed. And he was wearing a pair of dark blue jeans, fitted and with his trainers, even though he was not in his leather shoes. But there's something about him that speaks of success, the X factor. It's because the white shirt was fitted and it was well pressed. So men, to be immaculate, you really need to iron your clothes very, very well. Please do not come out with unpressed shirt, because that is an image wrecker. And every one of us must have neutral, because when you wear color blocking, it's very scary. So what is a neutral? For people to have the impression that you're more grounded, because neutral makes you more grounded. If you see this suited one, is a warm neutral. And the one on the right-hand side, the lady, is a cool neutral. Can you see how interesting they look just with neutral? That means not even with any colors, by accessorizing. So you need to do a tone. That means a lighter to a darker. So it will look more, so it will give your personality more depth, right? So what are cool neutrals? Black are cool neutrals. Bluish gray are neutrals. Blue white are neutrals. Everyone must have neutral in our wardrobe. This is our basic. It's like rice to Asian, potatoes to Europeans. Warm neutrals are like browns, yellow or green. That means some grays have looks a bit warm. So those are the ones that are called warm neutrals. All right. Some whites are supposed to be cool neutral, but sometimes I'm sure you see some off-white. That means got some yellow tinge inside, like cream and all. These are called warm neutrals. You need both neutrals, at least one of each, so that you can mix and match. So it will stretch your wardrobe a little bit longer. And that's how you can have that little to give you, many, many, many looks. The Sikit-Sikit is that little bit to give you mountains of look. Like instance, for this one here, I hope you can see me, right? Today I'm wearing dark with intention because my backdrop is white. Now I'm going to wear a Maybank color here. Can you see? I look light, not so outstanding. I look outstanding is because of my specs. If I don't have my specs and my hair is light, I will just disappear on screen. Now, how can I use just 20 ringgit, just 20 ringgit for me to look good? There's one way, all right? This one is only 20 ringgit. Which is this one? It's my scarf. It's 20 ringgit. It's a long scarf, so I'm going to fold it this way, and I want to look empowered. Nobody is going to question you or be insensitive to ask you how much it costs. As long as you look $1 million and you behave $1 million, that will do the trick. Can you see? I just use a 20 ringgit scarf and I already look $1 million. That's how you could invest in all these little things. What you need are basic things, whether it's pastel or whether it's dark colors. So if I use all black, without anything, I look kind of serious. So maybe you say, I have got wardrobe challenges and I want to have a very good impression, especially screen to screen. So just imagine if this is all black, all I need to do is to put this over here and I fold it out. It looks like I have another dress. I've got so many changes. All you need is, especially if you are screen to screen, scarves helps a lot. My accessories screen to screen is larger, but when I do face-to-face meeting, it's smaller. So what I would like to share with you is the parting words is, think about what colors you want to use, because colors can influence moods and perception. So if you want to project that you're warm and friendly, use a little bit more warm colors. If you want to tell people you're so cool and sophisticated, then what you could do is to use more cool colors. But if you feel that you want to be more outstanding, use a bit more higher contrast. Because at the end of it, you are responsible for your own image because you can design your way to the top. And always understand that dress can give you power. Dress can empower you. So you always want to come dressed as if this is the most important meeting in your business. And because you never know who comes ringing on your doorbell. And with this, I'd like to hand my whole session back to our beautiful Krista.
Okay, Sheila, now I've got to say that some of the don'ts that you have just highlighted just now, well, I've been guilty of some of them, unfortunately. But thanks to you, now I know better. So we have collated some, quite a number of important questions from the audience. And so because with the time, quite a restricted time, let's keep it, short and succinct so that we can cover all of these interesting questions we have for you, right? Okay, the first question here is, if I have made a bad first impression, how should I fix it?
Okay, this is a very good question. All right. First of all, you need to be honest. You need to acknowledge that you have given out a negative impression because some people don't even know that they have given out a negative impression. You will know if you have, because it's only a matter of if you will acknowledge it. No, it takes 7 seconds for people to decide if they're comfortable with you or not. And another 7 minutes for people to like you. So if that trust is broken, it takes about 10 months to redeem it. So ask yourself, is it because of your hygiene? Because sometimes it could be that. Or is it because of your mannerism or your dressing? So if that person is important in your life or career and you have wrecked the impression, you work on your weak area. But for me, don't take your chances, right? You always want to dress appropriately. Find out what's the dress code so that when you dress for success. And when you speak with clarity. And you conduct yourself with the highest decorum. In other words, be well-mannered at all times. And you touch people with your sincerity. And slowly but surely, they will change their mind about you.
Right. Okay, the second question sounds like this. Is it important to match my clothes with my virtual background while having online meetings?
Is it important to match my clothes with my virtual background? Can we use you as an example?
All right, sure.
Okay, because your virtual background, it's better for me to use examples, all right? Like your virtual background is dark. Your virtual background is very sophisticated. Looks like, it looks very rich. And you yourself also, you portray a look of sophistication. So it's a very cool, mysterious look. So you can have this look or you could have another look. So your choice now, Krista, is either this way, the very cool, sophisticated look, or you go for all pure white. But I would dress yellow, because your Maybank logo is yellow and you've got the yellow, little golden yellow there, then it will blend beautifully.
Right. Okay, noted on that one. Can short people wear long skirt? Will it drown us out?
Short people, whether they can wear long skirt. All right, depending on the cut. If the short person, long skirt simply means below the knee. Are you saying that? Okay, if they are short people, if they wear below the knee, because if they wear ankle length, anybody can wear ankle length. Below the knee, all right. If it's airline, absolutely no. You will look even shorter. But if it's pencil skin, it's tight fit, they will actually look taller. But they must have heels.
They must have, heels,
I-
right. For that added height, yeah? Okay. Is it important to dress in branded goods? Are branded items always better, or should I be more conscious about the quality of materials?
Okay. Is it important to dress? I will tell you, I'm well known to make you look a million without breaking your bank account. So of course, if you can afford branded goods, it's nice. But what about the rest of us who can't? Does it mean that we can't look successful? So no, you don't necessarily need branded goods, because some people they wear branded goods, but they ain't got the confidence, they cannot even carry it. When you have the inner confidence and the poise, even if you don't have it, you can fake it until you make it. So what is important is the quality. That means the cutting. The cutting must flow with your body, meaning the fit has to be there. Knowing your body shape comes in handy. So if you got a curvy body, like hourglass, spoon and all, that means heavy bottom, you go for curvy cutting. If you got a straight cut body, like a rectangle, like the ruler shape, you go for straight cut. So you don't want to go against your body line, and that will do the trick.
Right on, I see. Now, is eye makeup necessary for those with spectacles during virtual meetings?
I feel it's very important. Even like me now, now that I'm older, I have to wear specs, right? I still have my makeup. Somehow or other, when I don't have makeup, I don't feel confidence. And you see, if I don't have makeup, I feel that I'm not fully dressed up.
Right, okay. What color attire is suitable for job interview?
Okay, for men or for women? Let's talk about the man first, huh? Let's talk about the man first. Let's say if the man is going for an office job, right? And he is not going for a power position, that means it's just a normal position, right? And he need to wear a tie. He can wear, okay, the best is as usual, the white shirt or the blue shirt, but never a red tie. But let's say if he's going to be interviewed for a top position like CEO and he wants to show authority, he can wear his white shirt and the red tie. All right, for the ladies, you don't want to go wrong. You always want to wear, okay, gray or navy blue. Why gray or navy blue? Because you wouldn't know the person who's interviewing you, whether it's a more formal or more casual person. A black could be a bit too serious, so a gray will be more modest, and a navy blue is suitable for all occasions.
I see. All right, there's this one. Apart from clothes, what can I do to make myself look better or stand out from the others?
Apart from clothes, what can I do to make myself stand out? The first is your poise, your posture. Have you seen some people, even though they have got very simple clothes, it's not the most expensive, it's not branded thing, but they look really good. It's because of the way they stand. They're very poised. How are they poised? Okay, first point is your shoulders back. Your chin is parallel to the floor. When your chin is parallel to the floor, you have got very good eye contact. When you look up this way, you come across as being snooty. When you look down this way, there's not enough confidence. So this level, when you have got right eye contact, this will give people the impression that you are confident. So that will make you stand out.
Right. That's this one. I often get very self-conscious when turning on my camera for virtual meetings, so I prefer to keep it off. Any tips on building self-confidence?
All right. The first thing is, it's because you got no confidence and you use, okay, example, I will just show you now. If I were to talk to you this way, how do you feel? You don't know what am I doing behind my back. So I wouldn't know that you have no confidence, but you already, the first thing you've done is, the first mistake is you have wrecked your impression. The first 7 seconds is so difficult for you to redeem yourself. So I would suggest that if you've got no confidence, all you need to do is, all right, comb your hair nicely. Like you say, put a little bit of makeup, put a little bit of lipstick for the ladies. For the men, comb your hair and wear a clean t-shirt. Clean t-shirt, you will already look good. That's all you need. Okay, if you're darker skin, wear lighter color. If you are lighter skin, wear darker color. The magic color for all the ladies is pink. But some ladies just can't stand pink. So you can use darker pink or lighter pink. You know why? Because pink is very sentimental. So it will help to soothe the other person.
Right. Okay, I guess that's one last question. Okay, for guys and girls, what are the top 3 must-have items in their bags or wardrobe?
Okay, I like this one. For guys or girls, okay, for men, a pair of good leather shoes with matching belt. I say good, I didn't say expensive. Just buy a good pair, right? Not the square tongue, a little bit pointed so that it looks sharper and more stylish. And a few pair of dark socks. Since men hardly carry bags around, but if you do, please do not sling it over like a DVD seller. For the women, you wear in your bag. We talk about the women in the bag. I think face powder is so important because our weather is so hot, so you can touch it up and you look fresh. The lipstick is so important. It makes us look more energetic. And the eyebrow pencil, especially for ladies who got no eyebrow, you must have eyebrow because it looks very scary, very, very scary when you have a red lipstick and no eyebrow.
Okay, right. Sheila, thank you so much for the wonderful coaching session. Yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, remember, first impressions go a long way, and it's important to always look ready because the opportunity may never knock on your door twice. So always be ready to seize the moment. Yeah. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the final lucky draw session. Oh, I can't wait to find out who will be winning the Sony headphones, GoPro, and Huawei P40. So let's bring out the lucky draw wheel once again. And I'd like to say congratulations to Ashley Ng. You have just won yourself a pair of Sony wireless headphones. On to the next one. Congratulations to Muhammad Fadli Mahmoud. You have won the GoPro Hero 8. Good thing that traveling is allowed already. You can put that to good use, yeah? And the biggest win goes to Muhammad Shukri. Congratulations to you for having won a Huawei P40. Right. Now with that, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our webinar today. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your afternoon with us. We hope that you have come away feeling motivated, energized, and geared up to put into practice the knowledge and techniques of money management that you have learned today. While you are at it, do check out our ongoing #SaveUp campaign by scanning onto the QR code in the next slide. Once again, thank you and have a great evening ahead.